specific broker that they use. And being that it was a university hospital name and the invoice from Jatden that is in the public domain, people are asking if it was the same university hospital broker that was used for the Jatden things. And then we are now learning that no, it was a separate broker. That is all I'm saying, which is everybody's saying, and then we need an invoice to show that Jatden brought in the things them in Jatden name, use Jatden broker, and only use Yui when they run up into the problem. That's all I'm saying. Come in, Chuck. All right.
That is correct.
All right. Guys, don't see my church brother work with me. No attacking.
The next question. No, man, nobody can attack me, man. I'll do my best with Petal. The next question, Munchie.
Yes.
You're privy to the information, read the brokers of the additional 3 companies?
No, because when they asked the chairman today, the chairman said he not get the information from custom. You don't know why customer takes so long? Chairman said not get no information from custom, read the other 3 companies yet. So chairman will bring no new information to the parliament.
One of those companies got 950,000 tax exemption and a purchase of $3 million worth of goods.
Empress, mute your mic, please.
Sell back those same goods to the university for 6 times the value. So
what?
But Mr. Comrade Blair.
Chuck, hold on, Chuck. Find out
the hand already, Comrade Blair. I have the hand already.
The additional 3 persons used, whether independent or UWI brokers.
When we get information from customs and the CEO, I will come back here and properly ventilate the topic. You say we must wait for the facts and the evidence. Can you want me get no lawsuit from Louisiana? But you know you want me talk about company where me don't know nothing about. Make up your mind.
Allegedly.
Me can't use allegedly because tell me say I must not speak on absolutely nothing that I don't have the facts. And I don't have the facts on those 3 companies, and I don't want any lawsuit from Louisiana, so I'm gonna wait. We have the information on Jatden. Go ahead, Chuck.
Era Clark sent to the custom.
Yeah, man. Rightfully so. Because we want to ask custom the question, you Blair. Because we asked the CEO today. How did Jatden get around to paying customs when Jatden didn't owe customs? Yui owe customs. The CEO saying have absolutely no clue, and he not hear from custom, and he not authorize custom to collect any money on behalf of tell customs say you send the money, and not authorize Jatden to send the money on behalf of Yui. So he have absolutely no clue how that got come down. And then we ask the CEO, so based on which section of the Custom Act Jatden paid custom. And again the CEO saying don't see the section, I don't know how that come down, and therefore we send for custom, you Blair, which is right, don't it?
Both custom, they pass both chairman, they pass CEO and the present CEO should be in the PSC, I think, next week or the other week.
Absolutely, rightfully so. Because they have questions to answer from the people of Jamaica. There's no way on earth customs are going to collect money from any company when they don't have a list with their names on it, say that they owe customs any money. So people of Jamaica want to know how that come about. How did Jatden come about paying customs? Jatden supposed to be paying Yui, and Yui pay customs. So that is gonna be interesting. Comrade, you come next 2 weeks from now. I don't know, but I don't think Comrade Garden position is.
Sister, the Auditor General did say that the 4 companies got tax exemption through university at a cost of $23 million.
Yes, so they should pay back you with the money with the penalty, so you can pay customs.
So the money must be paid.
To Yui.
Pay to Yui.
And Yui pay to customs. Can remember, say Yui owe customs, not those companies. It wasn't those companies' fault why they didn't get the tax exempt. It was Yui. So the penalty lies with Yui. That's what the law says, and that's what customs says, and that's what the CEO said. That is why everybody is surprised that Jatden paid customs.
The companies are responsible for the goods.
And the cost,
But Comrade Blair, yes, sir. I'm sure you watch the waste of time today where your party call a press conference.
If we are going to have a discussion, don't preface the argument with the statement like that. You know I don't have discussion when time we start the argument like that.
My apologies. I'm sure you watch. Did you watch the press conference today, Comrade Blair?
No, let
me rephrase. It wasn't a press conference. It was a press briefing. A press briefing.
Time later on, I will catch up on it. I will replay it and listen to it. But I can't comment on it because I didn't watch it.
You Blair, me sure as the sun are shining today, so you now go sit down and rewatch nothing. You're going to get a little clippings of it, and that go inform you.
I have to inform myself, because if I am going to speak on something, then I have to inform myself about.
Well, that's why I spend the time and watch it, because I am going to speak on it. Me spend the time and watch it, and that's why me can clarify it as a waste of time. Me spend the time and watch it.
I personally can't partake of it because
a question that I want you to answer, Comrade Blair, as somebody from Old Hope Road.
No, somebody from New York.
Action of Jack then illegal.
The action of Jack then illegal. Illegal in the sense that he was offered tax exemption by the university.
No, he was not offered any tax exemption, sir. That's the story.
Get it.
Again, as according to the managing director's own words in the Jamaica Observer, he was told to go seek a permit for the importation of the device from the Ministry of Health. Rather than do that, he chose to call his friend at the university hospital.
Okay, so
university never called him and offer him any tax exemption, sir. He went to them and has come to feed him one words. You Blair, he has been doing it for 20 years.
He has been doing tax exemption for 20 years. That's what you said?
That's what I know me say to him.
Ari has been doing business with the university for 20 years.
No, he has been doing the tax exemption for 20 years. That's what I got from what he said in the Jamaica Observer.
Then Medical is 2-year-old. 2024.
Dennis Garden is not 2-year-old.
Jack Den Medical is 2-year-old. 2024.
But Jack Den is not 2-year-old. The company known as Jack Den is not 2-year-old. The medical wing.
No, Jack Den the company is not 2-year-old.
Okay. So the owner of Jack Den the company said we have been doing this for 20 years.
Doing what? Getting tax exemption. Did he
robbing the taxpayers of Jamaica?
Chuck, listen. I don't want no lawsuit. When it comes to lawsuit, I don't want no lawsuit. So
the truth is an absolute defense. And listen to me. The PNP cannot use lawsuit to silence anybody. You can't frighten nobody with lawsuit. And no TVJ, this one you can't frighten.
The PNP does not have a case. The PNP does not own Jack, and the PNP did not do business with the university.
Who did?
Jack is an independent private company. It has nothing to do with the PNP.
Owned by a sitting member of parliament of the People's National Party. Owned by a sitting member of parliament by the People's National Party.
But Comrade Blair, it look like it's a strategy where the PNP are coming now to threaten people for lawsuit because no one will talk about Jack then. How is it that the PNP campaign and the Prime Minister for 4 years, my Prime Minister thief, Prime Minister 28 bank account, Juliet a thief, every billionaire come to where Juliet run them, Juliet have Melissa a land title. The PNP said the nastiest of things. And now when you're in a spotlight now, is this what the PNP is gonna do? Try to muzzle blogger because them want Jack them out of the media. It's not gonna work. I'm speaking to the comrade them when I dig for you page. That my brother you Blair. To the PNP, let me make sure one. we are going to properly ventilate this issue, then. We're going to repeat what we heard in the PAC, and we're going to analyze it on our platform. We're not going to tell any lies on people. We're not going to talk what we did not hear, but we're going to ventilate the issue, and we're going to talk about what happened at the PAC, the then scandal involving Mr. Dennis Gardner, the Member of Parliament for East St. Andrew. We're not going to buzzle us because had it been a Jamaica Labour Party person, the PNP them would have run out. I mean, I don't know why we run out on this.
Once that is called politicking. If the Labour Party drop the ball, we are going to capitalize on it. And if we drop the ball, they are going to capitalize on it.
Yes,
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I saw politics, but it's called politicking.
Right.
You
Blair, me learned something at the press conference. So you don't get a chance to watch it. But when you get a chance to watch it, you'll come back. Comrade Nikisha Burchell said that she see the people in the constituency see strange people come in their work on the school, them and fix up the place. And the people in the community I wonder say how them not get no work. And she's saying that if the government not get the buy-in from the people them, then that mean then chances are basically she's alluding that the material they go missing and so. So I am saying you, Blair, when you watch it, you can get your own conclusion. That is coming from a member of parliament. What is she promoting? What is she assuming? What is she alleging? What is she saying? Is she saying that if the government don't get the PNP or the people in the constituency none of the work, they're going to thief the material? And if such people in the constituency now benefit from the work, no work can go on and the material are going to miss? Isn't that like a done-manship or a bad-manship or a situation where if people not eat no food, one person not get no benefit of food, nothing can go on? Is that why the PNP gone back to the days of manship and person running place and you have to go through people to get work done? Eh?
I cannot answer that question because I don't know the context in which the member of parliament was speaking. So I refrain from comment on that.
Fair enough. But I go for the comrade and on the For You page. What is Comrade Nikisha Burchell saying? Is she saying that the people them now, she said the people them now go look over the material them if they now get work, the material are go missing. I want to say to the PNP.
I would expect that in whatsoever constituency development, rework, renovation and things like that, I would have expected that persons from the constituency or the division would have been employed.
Why?
I would find it very hard to know that I am living at Section A, and then people from somewhere else come to the work in a Section A.
So what if you can't do the what
if they're not certified?
What if they cannot do the work and they're not certified? You should still give them the work?
No, let me finish. Because it's two types of work. What we would term as laborer, and then you have the technical people. I wouldn't have a problem.
And what if I be a technical worker go on?
Well, I know Chuck allow me to put things in context. When it comes to building, and you have certain specifications, and the company will have to have certain people to do the work, have certain resources and equipment. I would have a problem with a company winning a contract and getting the work. So, you would bring in the engineer and the technical people, but at least the laborers and so should be coming from the community itself.
So when a company win a contract, you see, Chuck, who determines who work on the contract? Who determines who the laborers are the technical or the skill worker? Who determines who work on the work?
Contractor.
Exactly. So if a contractor get the contract, you Blair. The no member of parliament can't tell the contractor who to hire. So that line of argument coming from a sitting MP, it is alarming. And I know everything the PNP put politics in it and muddy the water and cause confusion, because it that goes without saying. If a person get a contract to work on the school or the hospital, and the contractor come in with a team and fix the hospital, that have absolutely nothing to do with the MP.
In a practical world, then we could, right? I was listening to somebody speak on the construction of the highway in St. Thomas, where the contractor is China Harbor.
Yes.
And the contractor make requisition from the member of parliament. Also,
You think I mess up them if I cut in board for?
It was not a no cutting board, it was right there.
All right, cut them up for me.
I'm not cut them on, you see them, listen.
Talk, yeah.
Right? And in a perfect world, that happened, but I can tell you, work that have been given out in constituency, the member of parliament play an integral part in it.
But is there a rule or a law that says them have to do it?
That is not speculation.
Is there a law in place?
Is there a rule or a law that says them have to do it?
Or does convention?
In the 1990s, under PJ Patterson,
yes,
there was, when it come to work, there was an arrangement or an agreement for what is known as a 60-40 ratio, where 60% would go to the governing party, 40% would go to the opposition party.
Comrade, I can tell you that is not true, sir. That is not true. I can tell you that is not true.
And the PNP, you Blair, and the Percival, absolutely not.
Mr. Blair, that is
Percival.
not true.
You see, you can always say that it's not true, you know, but you have to bring evidence to say it was not.
But you have to bring evidence if it's true, say it is true.
I told you.
But where is the evidence to say that it is true?
To say that I am lying.
But there's
Comrade
no
Blair.
evidence to say that you are correct,
Comrade
and
Blair.
therefore we can believe that.
Comrade Blair.
Separate and apart from that. Separate and apart.
No. Hold on, don't jump. Mr. Blair, slow down. You're too old for your jump so far. Just hold on. You don't have to jump.
No, me still.
You're not a young toad anymore. You're old fast now.
I am as young as I feel, brother.
I don't feel too young. Comrade Blair, listen. I have known, been a part, work on several contracts under PJ time. There was never any 60-40 split between it's all if the worker go on in a constituency where there's a Labour Party MP. It is still, if a 100 worker them want, 90 of them are PNP and 10 of them are going to be Labour, right?
And the Labour get the flag work, and the flag work the Labour get.
Yes, but the question that is asked you, Blair, is whether or not, is it a rule that says, or is it a law that says it has to be done, or is it just a convention where people normally go by?
It wasn't a law because I wasn't passing parliament. It was
okay, so if me get a contract, we can choose to go a different way. I'm not breaking any law.
No, what you see, Chuck, let me tell you something. Because I was involved in politics. The only thing I never do is run for representation.
At the enforcer level? In Blair? Comrade Blair, if you're at the enforcer level.
I don't use those kind of adjectives, Chuck. I shy away from words like enforcers and strongman and words like those. No. That's not my type of language.
All right, sir.
That's not my type of language. I remember
you're in the security business then.
There was a councillor lady who was the last female councillor in Bolivia. My good friend Celia. I particularly remember in Israel when work used to be given out. Celia would represent the JLP era, the JLP personnel. And at all times, Celia was allowed, she and her team, to partake in work. That is how I come to know Celia on a personal level.
But was it a 60-40 split?
No, hold on, man. Hold on, Chuck. Hold on. And I am not one person who is going to come up here and say that if JLP get work, they're going to hire 100% JLP. Or if PNP get work, they're going to hire 100%. Both political parties will allow the other party to get some of the work.
Comrade Blair, don't you think it's time now? People are hired based on their competency.
And not by the color of the shirt.
And not by the color of the shirt.
Because and Nikisha is a
But when it comes to labor work and borrow work and work like those, get skilled people to do that.
Yeah, but Comrade Blair, that's what we're saying, and that is why the government make hard just NTA free. So everybody turning up at a site must be skilled at something.
yes. So the person
let me give you.
We have no labor upon the site, so everybody can do everything.
Let me give you a conversation between one laborer at a so-called company and his supervisor. His job in title was a tire and a wrapper. So he wrap up and tie up and send them out. And there was a reclassification going on. And them say he was an unskilled worker. And the man raised backside and say, you can't call me unskilled worker. I have a skill. Them ask him what is his skill. He said, my skill is to tie and wrap a bungalow. I have to count what go in there. That I'm a skill. Me can tie, me can wrap. So the man said, you can't call me unskilled. Maybe you don't rate me skill, but that is a different thing. I have a skill. That is the skill I have. That is what I trade. Right? But you believe the thing is where I said that we have to get to a stage where everybody turning up on a work site have a skill. And that is why you believe we think say when you not turn on the platform, you know if you shout it from loud and loud, make people say get up off on a nasty ass and go to heart and get a skill. He said the brother will get shot up at it. He said the brother will get shot, he have a skill. He won't be an entourage member who just try to beat up a man because him boss don't like the man. He would be a skill somebody.
That is work side.
If you start promote that, so people must get up. The skill is now free. And believe me that the work them are going to come in. And if Jamaicans can't do it, then we have to go flying some people to do it. But that is why the government put things in place that Jamaicans should get themselves ready.
Right.
Put on the path.
I never see PNP MP them you Blair promoting hard. Why?
Hold on, Munchi. I have had the opportunity of having health fair. And a lot of agencies were brought in to include art. I had a personal relationship with persons from Excelsior Community College to facilitate skill training and back to school learning for people in a particular constituency known by Munchi. So it is not to say that we have not done that.
Munchi knows 63 consent judges. You have to talk.
Prime Minister at that art, certain section of art would be free, and people would be paid to go to have a certain co-art, a person would be paid. That was long before that.
But we don't see this current batch of PNP under the leadership of Mark Jefferson Golden, you Blair, promoting art in the right way.
I know you have.
All we hear them and open them out of talk say you Blair is that they want more money and the government not give them enough more money and people still outside that appalling. You know me hear the comrade Dwayne Vassett today, Chuck, say even though some of the people then left the shelter, then still not live nowhere under Tapali, then live. So the government needs to bear that in mind when they give a house. So basically now that the people in here say house come now and they identify the land, when we put the house them pan for people, the one them where they left according to the comrade, come back now say they never they really live now where they want a house to. What is wrong with the PNP and the members of the PNP, you Blair? So the one them were left. The question I want to ask the PNP them, Chuck, and I cannot get the answer from no comrade. Where were these people living before Hurricane Melissa? Because the government asked them, you Blair, to show us the house spot so we can help enough to build back, so we can get out of the school. And they refused to do it. So where were they living before Melissa?
Munchie, I am not going to join with you. Label the persons in the 8 shelters across Jamaica as being PNP. Don't do that. I am almost.
You're not to join with me. You're not to join with me. It's okay.
How much you don't comment it? And if PNP is there, JLP is there, and no PATAR is there. And remember, we are speaking about Jamaica. And we try at all time not to denigrate our.
But you Blair,
so is that denigrating to ask where they were living before the storm?
Let me break you this up. You Blair, let me break. Hold on. You say something. I have to break you. Hold on. Let me make you continue. Just make a second. You Blair, when the Prime Minister say don't take no picture of people get the food because we want to preserve people dignity. We no cussing feet. So you come now with the same say you preserve people dignity. When the Prime Minister says preserve the dignity.
So your dignity is only should be preserved when somebody is handing you a bag of food or something like that.
That's the main time it should be.
As opposed to
what? On one occasion I heard Munchie make this specific statement as if to say everybody in the shelter a PNP.
If them are not PNP and them are JLP and them are no P, I have a question for them, you Blair. Where were they living before Hurricane Melissa? Where?
Munchie, another thing what we have a point out to come out of the press conference, is Munchie, I cannot be a representative of a constituency. A hurricane pass through and devastate the constituency. And me, my organization, I go get mobilized now. And I will have a registry to hand over to the government. We say, these are the people, this is then damage. I, as the member of parliament,
thank you very much.
An assessment and I can present this. But you come Blair, how not one of the MP them will speak today could ever say, I have the information, government.
And I hand it over to the minister. That's a good question. Why none of the PNP MP they never do them own assessment?
None of them, yes.
None of them
have not lifted a finger, you Blair, to organize them constituency after the hurricane, you Blair. And that me get that out of the press conference today. And all of them come up there I try to force emotions like them feel. They are a set of wicked.
Whatsoever is done where Melissa is concerned, it is the prerogative of the executive arm of government, not the opposition to go for
Comrade Blair. Comrade Blair, not bother with the foolishness.
Hold on. The assessment of persons were done through the Ministry of Labour, which is a paid position.
Comrade Blair.
No. They could have self-registered as well, you Blair. And that is where the MP come in. The MP could have helped with that.
Hold on. Is the government
Comrade Blair, listen to me. Comrade Blair, let me repeat what I said, because it seems like you're misunderstanding me. Comrade Blair, every member of parliament in every one of the affected constituency, your first duty on the ground is to take a registry of the damage in your constituency. You go around and you find all the people them will get damaged. You write down their name, you write down their telephone number. That is your job as a member of parliament. Whenever the government come now, you have that information ready. If you say, me have 300 people will get damaged, 400 of them, or 200 of them want help, 100 of them can do that. You need to have at least that you have to do as a member of parliament. So tell me then, you Blair, what has the member of parliament been doing since Melissa? What them I do?
Well, if that is the rule you want the member of parliament to take up, then we should just disband the Ministry of Labour.
Jesus Christ. Hugh Blair, I ask you this. What job do you think the member of parliament should do after Melissa? Tell me what you think them should do.
The Prime Minister said to the member of parliament when he gave them the first chance in the hurricane, he said, listen, me not go no money for a bill house, you know.
Hugh Blair, me never said bill house. Hugh Blair, I'm simply, Hugh Blair, no, Hugh Blair, listen. Hugh Blair, I am not going to make your gaslight when I say. I am saying, Hugh Blair, the least you can do as a member of parliament is know the kind of help for your people them need.
That's
so
true.
when help come, you can say me have my list ready. Me not say them figure bill house, Hugh Blair. I'm simply saying take up the people and information and you have it.
Not one of them.
That,
All the one Nikisha go say.
Should have done that.
All the one Nikisha go say you Chuck. The government must work back the portal and carry town and send town crier. And send town. When them a walk and look vote. When them a walk and look vote, then they go they send them town crier. And now when the government must open up the portal and send town crier because people on their home. The PNP know where the people them there. I feed them people them. Mark going to say one woman from St. Anne's text him and tell him say our house stopper a leak. From St. Anne, you know.
And that is right. This is Munchi. I look for full statement. You can't tell me say one woman that St. Anne was today. Every time rainfall still get wet.
To the Ministry of Labour.
No, the Ministry of Labour, Hugh Blair said that the persons can self-register as well. So I'm saying, if Nikisha and Ian Eels and Zulika just know where the people are, because they say people call them every day and complain, why can't they say to the person, say, did you self-registered? And if they said no, do you need help? That is what a good member of parliament or a good councillor can do. What are they doing, Hugh Blair, but and complain and ball for money? And when they want to vote, they know if you go find the vote. They feel the people, them, Hugh Blair.
You have no evidence to suggest that they didn't do that.
That's what they said today.
Yes, them say it today. Them say it today.
Them say today, say people are calling them.
Them say it today. Them say the government don't give them the information about for them own constituency. That's what them said today, Hugh Blair.
They don't have any idea who was assessed. They don't know how much person was assessed. They don't know nothing.
Who was damaged. They don't know who.
And which person were damaged. They don't know nothing.
Hugh Blair, let me tell you, a member of parliament who right now, if you go down a constituency and ask him.
They shut them out of everything.
But you don't need government to do that.
Not true.
But Chuck, even if the government not give them no work, they don't need the government to do that. They say them is a caring MP and them a look out for the people. Them just like how them do door to door for go look vote, them could have do door to door for go assess the people. Them especially Hugh Blair in a predominantly PNP division where vote for PNP regardless. The least them could have do, Hugh Blair, is to make sure that the persons were assessed. The PNP MP fail the people, then they come and cry to them like their hands are tied. They're a failure. I don't know, must be upset with them.
We are upset with the government.
We don't know with them, we don't feel upset with it. Our government can't.
Comrade Blair.
Sources. The government
Comrade Blair, I am not Comrade Blair. I don't know if you're willfully acting stupid here. Me don't know if you will. Comrade Blair.
He's in denial, man. He's in denial, Chuck, because he knows that the PNP MP them mess up. You know they should have a list.
What I said to Comrade Blair is that if I am dating Campbell, me will date Campbell, my constituency get devastated. All right. First thing I go take up on my team. Me just done one election campaign, so me have my team there already.
Party work at them.
Yes, party work at them there. We are gonna go through now. We are gonna get them pen and paper. We are gonna go through the constituency, Comrade Blair. We are gonna take down the people, them name with damage.
Long before the ministry reach me, I do that.
The kind of damage where them have, what them need, and me take them name, me take them number, Comrade Blair. I mean, I go back at the office, and I get them put it in a little database, and I go have it.
Yes.
When the ministry reach now, I can say, hold on, man, I have this information, can make the work easier.
No, even if they not go get to do that job, because the minister won't allow them to. The minister didn't want to access. But you know what they could have done? They could have give them list to the minister, and the minister cross-check to see if person double, and the minister said it. The Pernell Charles said it. Pernell Charles say, if you're self-registered and the people come there and register you, when they go through both lists, then any duplication chuck, then take off people name who are on the list twice. So if the MPD go and do him own a list chuck and having list ready, and when the ministry come and do their own thing, and the people them won't get him put them on the system by himself. When the ministry is going through the list, the people them who self-registered and the people them who registered, if me register 2 times or you register 2 times, all the ministry is gonna do is take off the one where you do it yourself and use for them one. If them not do it, them can bring you over to for them database. That is what we're saying, you Blair. What were the PNP MP doing for 6 months? Now they coming crying.
No, what
nothing.
That the whole issue speak to the incompetence of the government.
Of the PNP MP, can the government do them work?
The government has sole responsibility for assessment, coalition, and everything. That's their prerogative.
And they did it. And they did it.
Opposition got that name by parliament.
And they did it. The government did their assessment. Reason why this is been brought up now, you Blair, is because the PNP is claiming that the government didn't do it. And the only reason why they can claim that is because they didn't do it. If they had done it and made sure that it was done, then they could have said, well, it was done or it wasn't done. But they never have a clue what go on, they say. They say they're clueless.
Comrade Blair. Comrade Blair, I'm gonna call a name, but it's just for the question's sake. What is in the aftermath of the disaster?
Yeah, Chuck, I gonna say a PNP, the panelists where the PNP them are in.
But the government have a
well, make them say
it wouldn't matter.
Make them say, but at least you gonna have a list.
But Chuck, it wouldn't matter, Chuck, it wouldn't matter because the government do the list too, and the government have to cross-check the list. Come here, Angela Brownberg said today, right? Official of PNP. I boy, me tell you. Here, Angela Brownberg today, Chuck. Like it should I say, the government say a 1 allocation per house. But what about the people where have more than 1 family living in 1 house? That doesn't mean set more than 1 family living at the house. The fact of the matter is, Chuck, is a roof program. Even if a 10 family living at the yard, Chuck, is roof. 1 roof. But the PNP all the time
they want individual money.
Thank you, Petal. And that Angela Brownberg come and talk about today, you know, say more than 1 family in the yard, and the government just 1 allocation.
You know what happened, Munchie? Can I tell you something? In the beginning, when we go down after Melissa, that was what was happening in a 1 household. More than 1 of them did make the claim, and the government caught on to it. They only a ball out now because the government catch on to it and put a stop to it.
Exactly. Yeah. She has said, oh, more than 1 family in a 1 yard, so you figure 1 allocation. So if a roof program you Blair and a 1 roof, regardless if a 10 family living there, the people then come and they assess the rooftop. You're telling me that the PNP want the separate families to get different allocation for the 1 roof program? What is wrong with the PNP, you Blair?
We never said that, Munchie.
That is what the lady said.
That you Blair, I need you to go and watch the press conference, Comrade Blair.
That's not what she said.
What she said?
Comrade Blair, you say you didn't watch the press conference, so you cannot make that comment. That's what she said.
I have to know the context in which
Sierra
is required.
Sierra?
So, for example, how does a family whose house has been totally destroyed end up on the list of those getting $75,000? $70,000 rather. How do they get on that particular list and not on the 500,000 list? How do individuals who live in a community, a yard with several houses, see their neighbors receiving grants and cannot get a response from the ministry, from the NIS office, from the parish office about where they fall, if they do, on any of those lists. And I suspect that for many of those, the issue of clustering is something that needs to be looked at. The issue of our ministers having an understanding about how everyday Jamaicans live and what constitutes a household becomes also something that we have to look at. This morning on the news, I heard a statement from the minister saying that they are only giving 1 grant to a household. And that's fine if that were to be true, because others will tell you that it's not. But let's assume that that is true. Then the question becomes, how do we define a household? And from everything that I'm picking up from the ground, some households have been made invisible by the system that the government is using. And I'm being generous, because others would say that some households have been made invisible because of the politics. The public has not been provided with explanations about the shortfalls that we are seeing. We have gotten no firm timelines to complete the distribution. And the result is that citizens who bear the burden are once again and without answers. So today we are talking. Sometimes you get the sense that the government really wants from the opposition for us to be on our knees and to be begging for our constituents to get their just compensation. The Prime Minister says from time to time
Their just compensation. Like that. And that go on to know compensation.
Money. How does a cluster become a house, you Blair? What is a cluster? And how do you define a house in Jamaica?
A group of people living together.
Exactly. So how do you define a house in what does a house mean, you Blair?
I listened intently to what the chairman of the party said.
Yes. We get from what she said.
Where there is several houses.
Yes. And the minister only give 1 house.
Where there is several houses. And one person get and the other person don't get.
Because of 1 house. And several person living in 1 big yard. Can she say in a yard?
Let me repeat. She did not say in our house, because the house.
She said in a yard.
She said in our yard where there are different houses.
No. That is what she's saying, but a 1 roof, then they allocate, they assess the entire roof them in the yard, and they give you the money. So if you live in another room there over there, so me live in a room there, and Petal live, they're not gonna give you and me and Petal for the 1 big house with the 1 address. Oh Lord. So let me ask you, Chuck, in a big yard, you see, and the house that the yard, what is the address in for the big yard, Chuck? Chuck in a big yard.
There's a place in a Clarendon named Race Course.
What is the name? What the address them for the yard?
Well, let me tell you this, Buji. There's a place in a Clarendon named Race Course. When me did that, I think I was applying for my license first time. The brother where did that do it for me say, put Race Course on it. Me say why? He said also a big place in no address. Nobody can go look for you.
Okay. Okay.
That's why a big place.
Yeah, man. And so, Petal, let me ask you, due to you have personal knowledge with this. In a situation where you have a big yard, where everybody have a little cart, a little place each on the yard, one big yard, and you know, say, me I go add on my extra bathroom because me have my baby and me want my baby to be in my bathroom, and me add on an extra room because me have a next pit and I don't want to sleep together. When you signing up your ID and everything, what kind of address you put?
The 1 yard.
So how is the cover then want government to use one address and give out 5 money, you Blair? You account for that on the roof program?
You can have one address with 10 houses on the same premises.
Okay. So how do you determine what is the roof?
Hold on now. You will assess all of the houses on the one big yard.
That's what the government did.
And give them assistance accordingly to their
That's
level.
what the government did. That's what the government did. The government assessed the big yard, you Blair, and the entire, every single part of the roof, and those persons get the 500,000. But what the PNP want, you Blair, is for the government to assess every room separately and give me 500,000, Chuck 500,000, Petal 500,000, and you 200,000. That cannot happen.
Those are your languages.
Okay. That is why the minister said it this morning. 1 yard, 1 money. 1 yard, 1 money.
Munchie, the PNP was not advocating for 5 persons to collect.
What were they advocating for? They say yard.
No, that would be madness. I'm
What
sure
were they advocating for?
No.
All right. What were they advocating for, in your opinion?
What they were advocating for is that you have one address and yet still you have 10 houses.
So how do you treat with that? How do you treat with that?
Each houses must be assessed.
But a one house each on together. One house each on together. Me just tell you, you know. One house each on the big yard. It's just that everybody have them one little quarters when them going at the house with.
That you created that, you know.
That is how the government look at it. That's why they only get one check.
That is what you create in your mind.
That is how the government look at it too. That is why they only get one check. Once a one big yard, and the government go in there and look on the house top. Government say one address, one NIS. That is what the government. Can you know what the PNP would do if the government never hit that in the board, Raquel? What the PNP was doing as Petal say? Every single person, whenever living in a big yard, did find one big yard and say another room they made it live, another room they made it live, another room they made it live, and government have to get 10 people in a 1 yard, 10 different.
Can I have a point of order, Madam Speaker?
That is why the government need within the board, because it was a scam. So you see the genuine people who actually have them own a house in a big yard, them get knocked because of the corruption where the PNP that try to put in the system. So government had to stop it in the track.
Question.
Can I say something, Madam Speaker?
Hold on.
Okay.
Take a second there, Madam Empress. Munchi, what is the flight time from Finland to Jamaica?
Me don't know because Pernell, they're Finland. I mean, never even tell you some go Finland.
But
You ain't come
Pernell
back
was
already?
in the parliament a while ago.
Pernell, you sure?
Because remember say them can fly from Finland to like say Canada, you know. Remember say them hours ahead of we no Chuck, right?
Yeah, but what is the but how long would that take? Because this morning at the press conference, Angela Brownberg said the man was in Finland.
In Goa, Finland, but in Pernell come back couple days now.
No, this morning at the press conference, she said the man was in Finland.
Oh,
She said
no,
it.
no, on a Pernell.
Yeah, she said it. She said it. She
I know,
said
I
it.
know.
She said Colonel Charles
MP.
Jr., the minister, is now
She
in
said it,
Finland.
ma'am. She said it.
And I hope him go stay up late tonight because them have a 8-hour time difference. So if he stay up late tonight, that's what she said at the press conference today.
Chairman said that was that the last thing I saw from the good minister. He was heading to Finland.
How about days ago was that?
I know everything in the woman just lies. She never knows about the man there.
I want to video you, Blair. But you, Blair, she should have said, then you, Blair, with all due respect, she should have said, the last time I saw the minister, he was on his way to Finland. She could have said that, you know. She didn't have to say the minister in Finland. She could have said the last time I checked.
What was her point? What was she trying to say?
Yeah, try said the minister must go back and assess how you get the money because the people them who live in a big yard now benefit because them have different houses in the yard and Pernell only want you want money for the yard.
That's exactly what I said earlier.
Pernell, and I support the government. I support the government with this plan. 1 yard, 1 money. I already have a million little house we try and put it with the family. A 1 yard.
So hold on, Munchi. Let me ask you this question though. Do you think the Ministry of Labour should revisit the allocation and revisit the assessment to accommodate the persons who
Think.
The person who do what? Sorry. Repeat. The person who do what?
was should the minister reopen the assessment to facilitate the persons who were left?
The person who were what?
Why should the minister do
Let me hear the
that?
last part. Now the person who were what?
I said,
Yes.
you think the minister should open back the assessment to facilitate those persons who are yet to be assessed?
You know, I'm gonna say no. And the reason why I'm gonna say no, because me can't trust the PNP. And the PNP I say people not properly assessed, not the minister. And because of that, if the minister thinks that the people are not assessed, the minister will do it. But we can't use the PNP narrative to say that people won't properly assessed, because the PNP
Madam
and
Speaker,
I just them a look. So,
Madam Speaker,
yes.
my granny used to tell me, say, who have dry peas go look fire. Now, if your house damage and the minister say between the 1st of April and the 10th of April, we are doing assessment. Now, you have to make sure say you're getting.
Look here, Mark Golding said the woman from St. Anne Knox that, and Mark Golding said the PNP woman from St. I'm going to say a PNP woman, you Blair, because the labor right now call Mark. So Mark Golding said the PNP woman from St. Anne. Call him and say over here, nobody roof program, Chuck. So you tell me said the PNP MP could go find the woman and make sure the woman all right? And the PNP caretaker.
Madam Speaker.
After the woman have Mark, no man said the woman a serious comrade, you know.
Munchi, that is exactly what we are talking about when we say the
I don't hear anybody can call Mark for, you know, you Blair. So I want serious labor right. I want serious PNP woman this, you know. Because he call Mark on-site Chuck. So no says a serious comrade this. And you tell me said nobody never look up to this woman and ancestor.
Not a soul never call me lie.
Munchi, with all due respect.
Yes.
Think you guys are putting their credibility on the line?
With what?
Their political affiliation.
So you Blair, you think a labourer should have really call Mark Golding phone?
No, that left Mark Golding. How could you say that the minister should not open it up because of PNP then?
I said, no, let me repeat, because I know what you're saying.
If it was important to the comrades, if it was important to the comrades, they would have made sure.
The prerogative of the government to assess.
I said you Blair. The government, you Blair, I'm saying. Let me make it clear, you Blair.
Don't even know.
Look, you Blair, I am saying that the government should open back the portal based on their own assessment, not on the word of the PNP MP, because the PNP MPs are like the boy who cried wolf. That's what I said. If the minister look into it and say, look at the data and say, based on the amount of people that in the constituency and the base of the amount of people that were that they assessed to be impacted, then see come up on the database, then can say yes, we will go back in. But not on the word of the PNP MPs, because the PNP MPs are just crying for more money. They have no credibility. So that is what I said.
Once the minister has to revisit the assessment, that totally would validate the argument put forward by the People's National Party.
But that is how government policy work. You have to see if you need adjustment. I have to see if it work or whatever. So that the government is not too proud to say we have to look back in the ministry and look back if the thing are run good. But while they're doing that now, if they see where we need to do more assessment, they will go in. But not on the whims and folly of the PNP MP, because all they want is pure money.
Tell me, does this even make any sense? Good afternoon. Does this even make any sense? Each shelter has a shelter manager. Each shelter manager has to report to the ministry. all who are present, what they need, and the ministry actually visit each shelter to get information from these shelterees. Where do you live? When we what happened to your house? Some will explain that the house gone, some will tell that the roof gone, and prior arrangements are made. So how is it that there would be such a selective amount within these serious damaged constituencies that so many persons would still be left off the list? That make any sense to you guys? You, Blair, look at it. Presenting an argument like that suggests that it makes no sense, because you'd hear something like that for the other constituencies or the other parishes that weren't affected so much. But the affected parishes, deep information would have been gathered, right? The assessments would have been done. So if a one man not go on it, how comes? Why would you have missed that opportunity to give the relevant information to the shelter manager, to whoever come to do the assessment? Because they would have to approach the shelter first before they can just walk through the communities to say, oh, something is missing from their roof gone there. So come on, guys. Look into it.
Hold on. Let me respond to something where you say. Shelter managers is not a paid position here. It's volunteer. There is no position which you are employed as a shelter manager.
I'm sure they have responsibilities, you Blair, duties and responsibilities. So if you volunteer, what may a volunteer to do?
Hold on. Shelter managers are volunteer. And shelter managers are really selected through the municipalities. And some of it, the political parties generally appoint someone within each division as shelter managers. Most shelter managers are affiliated to one political party or the other.
Comrade Blair.
The question now is, hold on. The question now is, we are going to move the responsibility from the Ministry of Labor, from the Minister of Labor, from the government, and to say the shelter managers should provide
Comrade Blair.
To the government.
Comrade Blair.
No, it is the responsibility of the Ministry
Blair.
of Labor / the Ministry.
Comrade Blair. Let me pose this question. Comrade, let me pose this question to you again, Comrade Blair. Post-disaster, post-Melissa, what do you think is Zolika Jess's responsibility to her constituents?
Yeah, I would rather not speak on any one individual members of parliament, but since, as you mentioned,
I'm asking it in general. Post-disaster, what are the members of parliament responsibility towards your constituents?
Hold on. Because what I realize you guys are doing is to absolve the government of
Blair, no, Blair, I am not trying to absolve the government, you Blair. What I am simply saying, you Blair, the process could be much smoother if the members of parliament who gather this information could have it ready. Me not try to observe government and nothing, you Blair. I'm simply saying, you Blair, if I was a member of parliament, you Blair, a disaster struck, my first responsibility is to gather up all of my constituents where that is affected and have them information ready. And that me would I do.
Yeah, duplicating the role and the
Jesus
responsibility.
Christ, God. Hey, Munchi, it don't make sense.
No, why would you want to duplicate the role and the responsibility of the minister and the government?
Let me ask you this, you Blair. Who does the constituents call? Who does the constituents call when they need help?
The Prime Minister said the government was elected to govern.
Hugh Blair. May I apologize for my next term. Hugh Blair, may I apologize for the words I'm going to use, but I know no better way to say it to you. Hugh Blair, take off the fucking PNP hat to 1 minute.
Apologize.
Take off the PNP hat to 1 minute, Hugh Blair. Hugh Blair, I am simply saying, Hugh Blair, as a member of parliament, a disaster struck your constituency. You don't believe that the member of parliament have a duty to go out to his constituency, find the ones that need help, gather out them information and have it ready to present to the government when it needed. You know, believe say every member of parliament have that responsibility.
And then you see a mother go come out and cuss Jalika just say PNP share on our list, don't?
So let me ask you this then.
Chuck,
so the government should give the member of parliament no money then?
The MP, Chuck, is not even the responsibility of the MP, it's the responsibility of the councillors, right? To gather that information, and then that is therefore communicated with the interests. Once these MPs have the interest, it should be communicated with them, and then now they can present their information to the ministries.
Look here, I don't know if you remember this. Shortly after Melissa, Hurricane Melissa.
You guys are, well, I'm Munchie. You guys are speaking as if to say, you have to suggest that no member of parliament have made any representation on behalf of their constituents.
Hugh Blair, I am not saying that they don't make Hugh Blair, hey, Munchie Megana, me think that Hugh Blair willfully try to frustrate. Now watch parliament, yeah?
Hugh Blair, use your common sense.
Now watch
Later, Chuck, I think you better frustrate him.
Because if they had done their due responsibility to find that information, when that question was posed by the journalists, they would have been able to answer.
I don't tell you the journalists asked women about it.
Whether or not.
And the journalists even asked the PNP, say, what do you suggest the government to do? Because you complaining, said the roof program is inadequate. How much more? And you guys decide how much more you want the government to do. Yeah, Nikisha, we have not discussed it. This is the problem with PNP in a Hugh Blair. They only came to complain today. And they don't learn a lesson from the last 4 years when the people of Jamaica say, we don't want to hear the complaining only. We want to hear a solution. And we want to say that we're really serious about Jamaica and not only complaining to scoring political points. Even the question, Petal, if you can find it, when the Gleaner at the end, when the Gleaner reporter asks you involved.
That question, me jump to, you know.
Jump to it, play it.
Our first question?
Yes.
If there are any questions on the details of
hold on.
They can be directed to our treasurer.
No, I second one. I think you can play the first one. Play the first one too.
No, hold on there. He might finish up. Mark, I finish up.
Play the first.
When the questions start, me come.
Yeah. Yes, because we want to prove to you, Blair, that people, the same issue that we're having with the PNP is the same questions the media ask as well. That is why I said I don't know why the PNP wasted time come out this morning. This morning was a waste of time. I thought the PNP was going to come out to say, look here, this is what we have done. We have made this assessment. We have do this and we have 22,000 people. Only data alone make a lot of sense. The rest of them could have stayed. Only data alone come with data and with solution and with sensible thing. All the rest of one of them come with all the ones who are just pure grandstanding. Pure grandstanding. What the people of Jamaica wanted to hear was what the PNP is doing and what is their call on the government for when they need assistance with. Pure complaint. The way the PNP are going is that the government they do not.
Like Munchie got a call, guys.
Let us finish off.
The level of destruction and sufferation and deprivation in the areas which were affected by the hurricane remains real, and all we can hear is high percentages of this being restored and that being disbursed and so on. But the impact on the people's lives and residual suffering that people are facing is not being addressed.
Yeah. Morning again. Campbell indicated in his presentation that in relation to transportation costs and so on, eating into the roof grants. And you indicated also that you have had a discussion with the ministry or the minister about having those hardwares being more centrally located, or at least in each division. You did not indicate, Mr. Campbell, the response you got from the ministry or the minister. That's one. Two, I've heard all the MPs speak about the need for the extension of the roofs program. What I have not heard is a sort of coordinated or a figure in terms of how many constituents or how many residents in the constituencies represented here that you can, if you have a database of the persons who might benefit from, if in these constituencies that are represented here, if you have a total figure of the people who could benefit under the rules program. And then if I might digress, Mr. Bowling, for you, the critics have said, Mr. Bowling, that the issue with Jacqueline and Mr. Gordon is not so much on the finance side. It is on the issue of a principle of a company being involved in transactions that the authorities believe circumvent the law. Critics have said that. I wanted to hear you on that. And also, if you could tell the public, when you say the matter is before the party's integrity commission, what should the public understand? What timelines are you giving them when that will be ventilated before that internal body? And what should the public expect insofar as what the integrity commission might do in relation to that matter?
Thank you, Laverne. I'll address the questions about what this press conference was called for, but I see you've gone beyond that. Yes, my first message on that topic to the minister was on February 25, 2026. He didn't respond to that. I sent a follow-up on March 2, 2026. Didn't respond to that either. I spoke to him about it in the lunchroom at the Parliament, and I asked him the question at the Standing Finance Committee as well, when we were examining the budget. And he said that they would look at it. This is Minister Pernell Charles Jr. that we're speaking about. And it is obvious that just based on how rural Jamaica is structured, and I know that MP Burchell was at pains to communicate that to persons, that rural Jamaica is much different from the urban spaces. You may have somebody that lives in the constituency and they live 2 hours away from somebody else within the same constituency, or even 3 hours away from somebody else in the same constituency. So if you're coming from, say, Berkshire, which is way up on the northwest border with St. Elizabeth, and you have to go all the way down to South to get some material, easily you can see it will cost $80,000 or $100,000 to transport it. If you were, however, going to a hardware in Darlington or in Betheltown, then you would save significantly and you'd be able to get more material. And the problem is, and I think Dr. Morris said it, and the lead as well, the problem is that based on how it is structured, most people are being called upon to just build board houses, which is putting them in a very precarious position should another event take place. And we know that something else will take place. We hope it's no time soon, but eventually it will. And if you are not putting persons in a position for them to build a proper structure, then you're going to have that problem. The second issue is in relation to those who should benefit. So, when this process started, we tried as best as possible to communicate to our constituents about them using the self-assessment form, about them going to the Ministry of Labour, and then we spoke to persons within the ministry. A few of the chief technical directors were responsive, I must say, at least to me, and we were able to submit the communities to them for them to go to the areas. What we do not know, which is what the complaint is, if we haven't gotten that final list to say that in your constituency, these are the numbers of persons that were assessed. These are the persons that are severe. These are the ones that are major. These are the ones that are minor. And it links back to the point that Professor was making. If the allocation, the severe category would use up all of the allocation and they have given to persons who have minor and major, it simply means that everybody in the severe cannot benefit, because you would have exhausted the funds, right? So that is the problem that we are having, that you have persons who have been totally destroyed. They were assessed, but they have not received anything. And those persons are still living in inhumane conditions. And so the appeal really to the government is to just have a heart, man. Think of these persons that, but for the grace of God, it could have been any one of us, you know.
I just wanted to add to the clarification being given by Dr. Campbell, that, which is why we keep saying that apart from opening the period and allowing individuals to self-report or to be assessed, the information as to what currently exists needs to be shared and shared widely. You would have heard MP Ian Hayes say, although the minister said that every MP has gotten a list, that he has not gotten a list. Some persons have gotten a list, they don't know if it is half, if it is a quarter, or if it is just a couple more left to be done, or how many. And that, I believe, it is the transparency and the accountability portion that is absolutely missing, which means that even if we were to get more time for persons to report, we still wouldn't know where we are.
Yes, on the matter you raised, Laverne, as it stands now, the Auditor General's report focused on University Hospital and their administrative weaknesses and issues arising therefrom. So there was no direct judgment as to the conduct of anyone else. However, we know what has taken place so far. It was in that context that I thought it appropriate, especially since there are ongoing investigations, I think, by the Integrity Commission, that the action which has been taken should be taken. In terms of the, and I mean by us on our side, in terms of the Party's Integrity Commission, that is an internal body that advises the leadership of the party on matters to do with ethics and integrity by they can investigate within the parameters available to them. They can at least dispassionately assess what happened and how they feel it should be dealt with. So, you know, that is what will happen there. I can't give you a direct time frame for that. And they report to me as party leader. And based on what their findings are and what their recommendations are, I will then consider the situation in the light of that. But that's essentially an internal party process, which is going to be, is being pursued and will help to guide my decision-making going forward. But that Integrity Commission was set up under Portia Simpson Miller and has helped the party. For example, they vet our candidates before a candidate is approved to represent the party, whether at the local government level or at the national level. They have to go before that committee, submit a fulsome fit and proper report and a face questioning on that before a recommendation is then made to the leader as to whether or not that person should go forward. And so it's been a useful structural innovation and assists in matters such as this as well.
Okay, we'll take our final question from online. Siobhan, please unmute and go ahead. Hearing you well.
I have a series of questions, but I'll start with the ones who are directly related. The Prime Minister is, as the opposition leader suggests, is going to take the NARA legislation this afternoon in the House of Representatives. What is his recommendation as to how NARA should be used to address the concerns he's raised regarding housing? And my other two questions are in relation to Mr. Golding's Integrity Commission filings, because usually they would have been made public around October or so in the newspapers, but that was not done in relation to the 2024 declarations. Do you have an understanding as to why there's been a delay, as suggested by from the Integrity Commission? And secondly, in the matter of Dennis Gordon, the suggestion is that Mr. Gordon could have potentially breached the Customs Act in terms of making a false declaration. Do you still stand by your suggestion that he has done nothing wrong, or he did not break the law in relation to the Jackman matter?
Hold on there. I saw Siobhan go hard this morning, Munchi. Hold on there.
Yeah, but Mark no answer the question.
Jesus. Hold on there.
Answer.
Hold on there. I mean, never know. So Mark, secretary declaration not verified by. No, hold on there. We never know. You Blair.
Next, comrade leader respond now.
Hold on.
Thank you. Could you repeat your first question?
About NARA. What is the recommendation Mr. Golding could put forward in terms of how NARA can be used to address the housing concerns?
NARA has been established, as I understand it, to execute projects that Cabinet approves. And in the Prime Minister's budget presentation, he identified a large list of projects that the government wishes to pursue in the years to come. Bypass roads, moving communities from one location to another, to free up lands for redevelopment, that sort of thing. So that seems to be the main purpose of NARA. We've heard others, like the Minister of Justice, saying he's hoping that NARA will build some new court facilities. I think these STEAM schools that the government is intent on building, these STEAM academies, NARA is going to do that as well. I don't hear anything about NARA being used to address the current issues facing Jamaicans in the aftermath of Melissa, the current infrastructure challenges that are making life and recovery very difficult, the shelter challenges that many thousands of Jamaicans continue to suffer in. The only program for this was roofs, and roofs was scoped inadequately. Its design was defective because it didn't have any resilience built into it or anything in it to ensure a more resilient approach to housing construction. That was absent from it. So there are clear gaps, and I don't think NARA is answer for those gaps. I think those gaps just require a focus of the Cabinet on developing a program to address those things and rolling them out quickly and identifying how they will be funded. This big envelope of resources available to the government should be, in my opinion, used to deal with the things that are clear and present needs of the country, so that the country can settle down, so that the country can feel restored and ready to move forward again, rather than being in a post-disaster.
Not one single suggestion.
Or a protracted period of time.
No, nothing. Pure complaint.
There were two other questions. One was for...
Pure complaint. Pure complaint, Betsy.
Oh.
Just a dancer.
You recall last year that there was a protracted period when the Integrity Commission didn't have certain personnel in place as a result of the tenure of existing officers coming to an end, and there was some kind of impasse that delayed the appointments of their successors. And that, I think, has caused some delay in their operations. So that's where that is. I can't comment any further on that.
So what much I say because
yeah, because the understaff. You know,
then
this
the
answer the last
understaff.
question about it.
So what about other
He don't
people?
answer it. He don't answer it.
Petal. The answer which it give cover everybody.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish, please. Hold on.
Not only him alone.
So Mark, so you Blair. So as it stands, Mark is not certified.
Nobody is certified for the period 2024.
No, as it
Oh,
stands.
you know that, you. Oh, you know somebody not certified.
No, because listen.
Yes.
Mark is not certified because of the unavailability of staff.
Yes. So how do you know that nobody else was certified?
Hold on. So I don't think it would only affect
Oh,
Mark
Lord.
alone.
We know for a fact that Mark is not certified.
Okay,
and Mark
me I
tell
go
us,
ask. Me know
tell
other
us why
politician and me I go
think
find
so.
out if they're certified.
But you can't speak for nobody but Mark Golding. You can't speak for the rest of MP them, you Blair, with all due respect. You only talk for Mark Golding, we tell you something today.
Munchie. There's a thing called critical thinking.
Doesn't have nothing to do with critical thinking because
I
who knows what Mark Golding said is true.
I see what's sending report to the parliament all of the whole time. Me never hear them come out and say.
Can I make a statement?
No, before you make the statement,
let me finish play this.
It done, Petal.
Oh, it done?
Yes. The ladies are thank you for coming and everything.
Okay, does Nikisha come back? Okay.
Yes. You, Blair. You cannot speak on behalf of the 63 members of Parliament.
And you, Blair, think it okay if Mark Golding not answer the question about Dennis God?
Hold on. Mark Golding cannot certify himself. The certification of anybody which earn $12 million or more is done by the Integrity Commission. You understand? I am not going to latch on to someone to say because they are not certified. No, because of the staff impasse is a problem. No, it's not a problem. When there is a problem is when it comes to the parliament to say that such person or such person is being investigated or cannot be certified or there are charges or something.
You, Blair. Mark Golding, the date passed where the IC normally send down people things who certified. We don't see the IC send it down, so we asked, and the IC did not reply. And then the media asked Mark Golding, and he's assuming that it was because they were understaffed. We don't know that. That's what Mark Golding said. The IC did not tell us that. So based on the evidence, based on the fact that the IC did not tell us anything, we can all agree and we can all say that today, at April, what it is today, Mark Golding's statutory declaration is not certified. April 14, Mark Golding's statutory declaration is not certified. You know, there's no explanation needed. You know, we're not saying do nothing wrong and we just attack the facts.
Say the same thing about the Prime Minister.
And you can, we not stop you. But Peter, you hear the part when Dayton say the government are pushed, like the government want to push the people if they build back board houses. Someone ask you, Blair. So you think the government can afford to build black house, give everybody who lost their houses in the 7 constituencies?
That is not the total argument, Munchie. And let me preface my argument by saying that Jamaica has a population of 2.8 million people. To date, 700,000 persons live in informal or squatter settlement. One of the problems which exists in Westmoreland and what facilitated so much board houses is not a matter that people could not have constructed proper concrete houses. But most of the lands in Westmoreland are government-owned land, which used to be sugar land.
So question. Stop this. No, man, I know where you're coming. So why didn't PJ? No, man, it's a very important question. I'm going to allow you to answer this and move on with your speech. Why did the PNP, under the 18.5 years of Percival, the 4 years of Portia, and the 4 years of Portia did more to regulate these people that are living on capture land?
Munchi.
Yes.
The sugar factory in Westmoreland. Westmoreland was one parish who used to be self-sufficient because of the amount of sugar it used to produce and manufacture.
Yes. So back to the capture land now.
Hold on. The sugar factory used to employ a lot of people coming from various parts of the island, especially when they had the cane cutting season.
Back to the capture land now, you Blair. We are telling sugar story for.
Munchi.
We have got 2 different topic, man. You know if you do that, man.
No, I am coming right to where you want.
All right, come.
So a lot of persons squat on government land to facilitate themselves working on the sugar plantation.
All right.
When the sugar factory was sold under Bruce Golding administration,
oh Jesus,
those said person remain on the sugar land.
So you're telling me, wait, so stop. So you're telling me, say, under the 18.5 years, when the people were squatting on the sugar land, according to you, on the government land, it was no, the PNP and the Percival had no interest, or it wasn't their duty, or to help the people to get regulated, or to sort out the land so that they can own the land. It was after Bruce Golding sell the sugar factory, then the people they realize that they need the land? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you see, you could not have regularized the person who was squatting on the same land where the sugar was being planted on.
So I don't all of them live on the sugar land. What you talking about, you Blair? I don't all people that live on the sugar plantation. A lot of them live separate places, like in Beeson Town. Beeson Town, people live on sugar land.
If you would allow me to complete
you're being disingenuous, man, you Blair.
You keep cutting me. You keep interjecting with your political analogy.
No, you're being disingenuous. You're trying to absolve the PNP for the situation that in Westmoreland, and that is not fair. The PNP, you Blair, for 18 and over 40 years, allowed people to squat on government land with the people in negligence to, but PNPs aided and abetted it by not saying anything and not helping them to get regularized. Now, in 2026, you Blair, you guys are coming to say Anjo must regularize the people and give them black house. No, man, you Blair, stop it. We need to take some blame for that as well.
Madam Speaker, can I say something? The people that are on government land, I don't know if Mr. Blair knows Westmoreland in that end. Those are the people that are more in the plains, in the flatland, in the Georges Plain area, in the plains. That's where the sugar lands are. Not in Beeston Spring, not in Betheltown, not up where Mr. Rapping is talking about. So the geography is very, very important. And if he doesn't understand the geography, don't talk about most of Westmoreland.
He's just being disingenuous.
Because just being honest,
you want to pretend like it was not issue under PNP since
that's my backyard. That's my backyard.
Yeah,
so you can't tell me about that area.
Exactly.
It's the people in the flatlands where the sugar was. But most of the people, Shrewsbury, name it, different places, Roaring River, places like those are people own their land. But guess what? Predominantly what needs to be said, and for the nation to understand, people that are listening, Westmoreland is a place where they will lease land, and there are people that will take their homes from one place to the other, not that they are squatters. And they normally build beautiful wooden homes and they'll move it from one place to the other, not on squatting land, leasing, renting, and that's the truth.
So whose job was it to regularize them from lease to ownership?
Well,
they're supposed to take the ownership and follow the law and get it, but the PNP down there, Empress, for years, they had PJ, they had Matt Neal, they had Roger Clark, they had Carl Blight, they had the executive right across the PNP, and none of them did anything to help the PNP people, and not, let me not say PNP, to help the Westmoreland people who are living in this condition. Now in 2026, you Blair, you have Mark Golding, Dayton Campbell, Ian Ailes, and the Wayne Vass coming to say that the people them want house, and Dayton went as far as to say that the government is pushing for based on what the government have now. The people them have to go build back borders, like he must say. Government must build them black house. Government cannot afford to build them black house. Number one, and number two, they don't own the land. You Blair, and that is the issue.
And Madam Speaker, and in Mr. What's his name up in Darlington there? What's his name? You know, I don't Dayton. That area is, those people are farming people, hardworking people. They are not squatters in that area. So when he's talking, I mean, if you have a one place where somebody might take a place, that kind of thing, it's not a big thing. In the Darlington, Westmoreland area, no, that's not the culture in that area. Not at all.
In White House, nice fishing, people make their money on a fish. And let me tell you something. You see, if the PNP be honest with the people then from day one and help them to get the people them would have paid their land then taxes and pay up their money and own the land long time in Empress, because they're and like the people them lazy and don't want to regularize. It was a job of the PNP to help them.
You just contradict. But
on the PNP never helped them. No, the PNP coming to power now. Them are convince the people them now say and they must lay back and relax. A hundred wellness must govern our land. Back in the days, if we don't work with them, they would have pay for their land. Now they don't want to pay again because they go down, they go tell them say Andrew collect $65 million from foreign and have to buy and have to pay for land for them. Mindset. And I'm not going on you guys. You see that? Kimali PNP promising people a free house. Yes.
See, you guys can come up here and pontificate and put your own credibility
God, you top it
on the line in support of one particular person or one particular political party. I am not putting my credibility on the line for political expediency. I'm not. If I am going to speak, I am going to speak on Jamaica in general. Because I said in Jamaica at this time, 700,000 persons live in squatter or informal settlement.
Yes.
I don't know what percentage of that is applicable to Westmoreland. Come on, Anthony, stop it here. You're going to the park, right? And Elena? Okay, good.
But we're not talking about squatting overall today. We're talking about the PNP press conference where the 4 PNP MP coming to cry and say the subject of the PNP MP to the press conference was about housing, you Blair. The PNP should not be keeping any press conference about housing, you Blair, especially for the western part of Jamaica, because the PNP failed the people of Jamaica as it relates to the western part of Jamaica, as it relates to housing. That's what we're saying.
But in 2020, there was no PNP MP in Western Jamaica.
What that's supposed to mean? We had 2 years of COVID and 2 years of build back. What the PNP could have done in that 40 years, you want the JLP to do it in 2 years?
Let me tell you what it means.
Yes, please.
2020. No PNP member of parliament in Western Jamaica.
Okay.
In
what does that mean?
Well, I know. Can I?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it sound like you break out.
No, man, I'm not break out. In 2025, there is no JLP MP in Westmoreland. They say that to say this.
Yes.
PNP was so wicked
Yes.
to the people of Westmoreland who voted back, who voted for the JLP in 2020 and turned against the JLP in 2025. You tie that argument to say
That is a beautiful question.
So that is so PNP comfortable then with.
That is why. That is why. Let me answer that, Jubilee. Thank you.
but why did they go back to the PNP?
Thank you. And this is why. Thank you for that question. Here's the answer. It's very simple. They don't want absolutely nothing. That is why nobody's PNP MP come to cry today. No mind at all. Because those persons are happy with living under PNP lifestyle and what PNP can do for them. That is why they voted back PNP, and that is why we, the taxpayer, are not willing for the government to tax us to build black house for the PNP people down there. Thank you for the Western people. Let me not say PNP, for the Western people down there. That is beautiful.
As I take my leave of absence,
yes,
so I can go to the parliament.
Yes.
Just confirm that the people, especially in Westmoreland, are sabotage because they voted for the People's National Party.
The people, let me can answer that before you go. The people in Westmoreland sabotage themselves when they voted back for the People's National Party. Have a good day, my brother. They didn't want.
You were inadvertently saying that they don't want the JLP.
Yes, because the sick not care, the doctor not care. So they sabotage themselves, my brother. When they voted back for the PNP, they voted for what they have now. They didn't vote for house. They did not vote for house. They did not vote for house. They did not vote for road. They did not vote for infrastructure. They voted for time come to be back with the PNP. So then they are happy. They are happy.
You remember the girl up at St. Mary said, "Me don't want no pipe water. Me want PNP. Me want a river."
And when the people don't Central Westmoreland go down there, say, 101, they say, we want PJ. That's what the PNP want. Just the West people, they want PNP. And we're not denying them the PNP. We're not denying them, we're not kill up ourselves with them.
Right. So you just confirm that the people of Westmoreland are being sabotaged because of their political affiliation.
You confirm it.
You said
you confirm it. You confirm it. You confirm it. You said the PNP. You said the PNP people reject the JLP, and that means that they reject prosperity, and they go to time come. You said it, my brother. You said it, not me. You said it.
To church sister.
You said it, my church brother. You said, why did you ask me so specifically? You said, why did the people, after all of what you said, the PNP put them through, Madam Speaker, why did they turn around and vote back in PNP? And that is a good question because they rejected the JLP and what the JLP had to offer. They wanted the PNP and they got the PNP and they're absolutely happy.
So why? That is the reason why you guys are sabotaging them.
We vote for PNP, don't. We sabotage them and them vote. We're never going to the voting booth with them, you. The people of the western part of the country, you blame with all due respect. They went to the polling station and they voted for the People's National Party, and we're happy for them now. Why? Oh, you're gonna blame we for all them vote? You can't blame we for all them vote, my brother. Come on, man. Empress find the parliament because the parliament attack and I sweat like a hell. So come at me and miss things. So later
church sister, remember what I said earlier?
Yes, my brother. Thank you, church brother. Thank you so much. Later.
You're not certain about?
Thank you. No problem. Thank you, my church brother. Later, yeah?
Petal, me still vex, you know. Me still vex with you.
Why you not tell me why you vex with me for?
Find the parliament empress in the meantime.
Hey,
tell you, Blair, say in China church or in a malice.
Well, then, let's all make it up back, man.
Saturday night.
Nah,
you were quite explicit in what transpired after.
Me tell somebody say what? What me tell somebody say?
You tell them on the live that you go out.
You don't remember? Petal, where you go on with the Jamaica? So many people have to spell it out.
Okay. Go on with the things and everything.
Jealous.
Oh, you listen.
God, poor you, Blair.
All right, you Blair, not jealous. All right.
Have a good day.
Yeah, man, you too.
All right, let me go on.
Oh God, you don't know what happened to me, Empress?
What happened to you?
You know, somebody did have some coffee, some something for me profile for Tim's, and it look like he time pass and me lose them.
Aww.
No reward.
Aww.
Oh shoot.
How did you make that happen?
Me I'll get log out of my Tim's account.
Oh
me just get back in.
Please don't find the parliament, Empress.
I am, Mama. I'm
outside.
outside.
Parliament.
I'm outside gardening, but I'm gonna look for it. Hold on. So we're going into PAC. Is that what we're doing?
No, with the Parliament live.
No, I'm
Okay. Oh yeah. It's right here. Hold on. Yeah, right here. Let me take up my thingy, my headpiece, my earpod. 1 second. Let me take it out.
Got 5 HelloFresh boxes for free to test out. Here's how you can get yours. This is the biggest promo of the
And effectiveness. A delicate balancing act, but one.
Tell me when you guys are hearing.
That this Parliament and this administration is
we are
capable
hearing.
of delivering. So, Madam Speaker, I rise to address this honourable House on the tabling and commencement of debate on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill 2026. And this bill is one of the most consequential pieces of legislation that this Parliament has been asked to consider in the modern era of Jamaica's development. Jamaica has long been described as a country of great promise. We have an incomparable geographic position. We have a globally recognized brand in music, sports, culture, and tourism that are the envy of countries much larger than us. We have a diaspora of extraordinary talent and capital spread across the world's most prosperous economies. We have natural resources, agricultural potential, and strategic location at the crossroads of the hemispheric trade routes. Development plans, consultancy reports, and policy discussions have outlined Jamaica's transformation for decades. The vision of what Jamaica can be has existed in our national consciousness for generations. What has been missing is not the dream. What has been missing is the institutional machinery to turn that dream into delivered reality. To take the plans from the shelves and drive them through to completion at pace. Hurricane Melissa, as terrible as it has been, has given Jamaica something rare. A moment of national urgency, a critical mass of international financing, and a mandate for transformation that transcends the ordinary pace of government. This bill is how we seize that moment. We're not restoring a pre-Melissa Jamaica. We are building a post-Melissa Jamaica that the generations before us dreamed of and the generations after us will inherit. This bill has been crafted to deliver the institutional architecture through which Jamaica will convert catastrophe into competitive advantage and become a stronger, more productive, and more prosperous nation. Madam Speaker, the world has already signaled its confidence in Jamaica's capacity to lead this resurgence. The International Monetary Fund, the World Bank Group, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Development Bank of the Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, and the Caribbean Development Bank have jointly committed a coordinated financing package of up to $6.7 billion US, the single largest and most comprehensive development financing package ever assembled for Jamaica. Madam Speaker, these institutions have commended the government's decision to establish NARA, noting that a few countries that
a few countries act so quickly to set up a modern, best practice central coordinating body to drive recovery with discipline, transparency, and long-term vision. Madam Speaker, the US $6.7 billion financing package is historic. However, the assessed damage and loss from Hurricane Melissa is US $12.2 billion. That means there is a gap that public financing alone cannot close, and that multilateral borrowing alone should not be asked to carry. Because every dollar that borrowing is used for, it's an addition to the national debt that future generations of Jamaicans must service. Madam Speaker, private capital, both domestic and international, must be mobilized, crowded in, and put to work alongside public investment. Madam Speaker, this is precisely why NARA incorporates not just approved reconstruction and resilience projects, which are government-led projects, but also designated strategic projects under FAST, which are private sector-led projects. This is to ensure that both public and private investment are properly coordinated and coordinated with synergy. Madam Speaker, some have asked why the existing machinery of government is not sufficient to manage reconstruction. That is a fair question. However, the existing administrative framework was never designed to coordinate simultaneously and at emergency pace a reconstruction program of the scale and complexity that is needed for post-Hurricane Melissa reconstruction. It does not allow us to easily overcome fragmentation, duplication, and the interagency coordination failures that have too often showed and slowed up project delivery. It was not designed to interface on a unified platform with US $6.7 billion in multilateral financing, the private sector capital, and government appropriations in real time. The centralization of reconstruction efforts following major hurricanes has many precedents globally. After Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005, the United States established special purpose housing authorities with expedited powers. After the Christchurch earthquake of 2011, New Zealand established the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority. After the Great East Japan earthquake of 2011, Japan established a dedicated reconstruction agency with elevated legal powers and a fixed mandate. In the Caribbean, Dominica established the Climate Resilience Execution Agency following the devastation of Hurricane Maria. In Jamaica as well, former Prime Minister Patterson established the Office of National Reconstruction after Hurricane Ivan. In each case, the defining principle was the same. Existing administrative machinery, however competent in normal times, is not equipped for post-catastrophe reconstruction at scale. A focused, centralized, and empowered mechanism is required. Madam Speaker, I now wish to address directly the governance debate that has developed around this bill. Elements of governance models embedded in this bill, for example, the absence of a governing board, are akin to that of an executive agency. The executive agency model is not an invention of this administration. The executive agency model was conceived in the mid-1990s as an important feature of Jamaica's public sector reform agenda, specifically to cure a defect that had plagued our institutional landscape for decades. Madam Speaker, several of the agencies that Jamaicans interact with every day are structured as executive agencies. The Jamaica Customs Agency is an executive agency, it has no board. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, the Registrar General's Department, prior to being subsumed into the National Identification and Registration Authority, NERA, the National Works Agency, all operate as executive agencies reporting directly to the minister responsible for the portfolio. This is a creation of the mid-1990s, a creation of the Patterson administration. In May 2001, Dr. the Honorable Carlton Davis, then Cabinet Secretary, addressed a UA Mind conference on executive agencies and set out with characteristic candor why Jamaica's traditional institutional arrangements had failed to deliver the quality of public services.
The way I look at it is it could be challenging, but farming without it could be challenging too.
Model that worked reasonably well in the early days of independence when the private sector was relatively underdeveloped and the demands of government were less complex.
I just want to bring to the House's attention that something that the Prime Minister has said is not actually accurate. The Executive Agencies Act provides for the establishment of advisory boards for executive agencies. And I'm aware that certainly Companies Office has an advisory board. I believe Customs does as well. And if you look at Section 4 of the Executive Agencies Act, it specifically says that there should be an advisory board. When Section 5, there shall be establishment and functions of an advisory board. Every scheme of management has to have that. So it's not true to say that there is no oversight, board oversight. They do have board oversight, and the boards play an important role in helping the executive agencies to function effectively.
Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I have two options in front of me. One option is to respond to the leader of the opposition and not detract from my presentation. But the other option is to respond to the leader of the opposition. Because, as is being said, sotto voce, I think the country needs to understand this presentation is not speaking about an advisory board. This presentation is speaking about a board of governance, which I believe all members understood that this is what we're speaking about and that there is a significant difference between an advisory board and a board of governance. The essence of the critique of the direction of the legislation is about governance. Yes, the law provides for the appointment by the CEO of an advisory board. Recommends the members of the advisory board not to hold him to account for governance issues, but as a mechanism for him or her to consult with on matters specific, especially to the technical elements of the agencies. I think the country needs to appreciate that there is not just a significant difference, but Madam Speaker, the advisory boards are not required to treat with matters of governance, accountability, and all the other issues of administration. When we are speaking about a governance board, we're primarily now speaking about how these entities will be held to account, how policy will be implemented, matters to deal with performance. Now, I want to make it clear, Madam Speaker, NARA will be established in the form of an It is not new, and I believe, Madam Speaker, that we should, as I said earlier, I commend the address of Dr. Davis, former Cabinet Secretary, and he observed that Jamaica's public service had its origins in a command and control departmental model that worked reasonably well in the early years of independence when the private sector was relatively underdeveloped and the demands of the government were less complex. But as the government grew and the private sector became more competitive, the model proved increasingly inadequate. The response over time was to create statutory corporations and the government companies that were meant to be more flexible, more competitive in attracting talent, and more efficient in delivering services. But as Dr. Davis noted in his address, these bodies, with some notable exceptions, did not live up to expectations. They operated as monopoly providers of services with no market pressure to perform. The Accountant General, as nominal shareholder, was a poor substitute for the private sector shareholder who demands returns. Dr. Davis made a fundamental point about accountability, and I quote, "Accountability of these bodies tend to be diffused between minister, chairman, board, and chief executive." Madam Speaker, when you have diffused accountability, when no single person is clearly and unambiguously responsible for results, the instinct of every institution is to protect process rather than to deliver outcomes. The executive agency model was developed precisely to cure that effect. Under the executive agency model, there is a clear accountability in the chief executive officer reporting directly to the responsible minister, supported by an advisory board rather than a governing board. It is a bit distressing that the leader of the opposition, who pretends to leadership, does not understand. Well, his comments would suggest that he does not understand the difference between a governing board and an advisory board.
On a point of order, the Prime Minister said that executive agencies don't have boards. That was incorrect. They do have advisory boards. He also said something about the CEO appointing the board, which is also incorrect. Typically, the minister under whose portfolio the executive agency falls appoints the board. And this, NARA, is not an executive agency. It is a statutory body. Clause 3 makes it absolutely clear. It's a statutory body to which the relevant section of the Interpretation Act applies. Section 28, which means it can hold property, can sue in its own name and be sued, etc. This is not an executive agency. That whole discussion about an executive agency is a complete red herring.
Madam Speaker, I believe we should focus. we should focus on this because the more the leader of the opposition gets into this business, the more he reveals himself as not having an understanding of the issues. Madam Speaker, let me be precise about NARA and what we will have in place of a governing board. Because some commentary has proceeded as if there is no oversight at all. The oversight is robust and it is modeled on the most successful accountability mechanism in Jamaica's modern history. As I announced in my budget presentation, the Jamaica Reconstruction and Resilience Oversight Committee, JAMROC, will be established to provide independent public oversight of NARA's performance. Madam Speaker, I am not here saying that the executive agency model has worked perfectly. Decades of experience have revealed certain challenges. In particular, while executive agency CEOs are engaged on performance-based contracts with accountability for results, the practical reality has not always matched that design. Often, the targets have lacked the rigor needed to drive real accountability, and the consequences for underperformance have been insufficient. We are conscious of those shortcomings. We will address these in how the NARA CEO is held to account. Performance evaluation of the CEO will be conducted by the Cabinet Office, will be with structured input from JAMROC as well as other stakeholders. Performance evaluation will be grounded in the achievement of clearly defined targets and measurable outcomes, not merely process compliance, not activity reports, but delivered results. The people of Jamaica will be able to judge through JAMROC public reporting whether NARA is performing. And it is not the accountability, and if it is not, the accountability chain will be clear, direct, and consequential. JAMROC will operate similarly to the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, which was established to monitor the implementation of Jamaica's economic reform program. Madam Speaker, similar to the economic reform program, reconstruction is not a government project. It is a national project. Its oversight must reflect that. That is why I am announcing today that the government will make provision for JAMROC to include a member nominated by the leader of the opposition. Madam Speaker, I think that passed the leader of the opposition. He wasn't paying attention. Let me repeat that. Madam Speaker, similar to the economic reform program, reconstruction is not a government project. It is a national project. Its oversight must reflect that. And that is why I am announcing today that the government will make provisions for JAMROC to include a member nominated by the leader of the opposition. Madam Speaker, EPOC was created at a moment of national crisis no less acute than what we face today, though different in character. In 2013, Jamaica's public debt had reached approximately 147% of GDP. We were one of the most indebted countries in the world. We had limited access to international capital markets. EPOC did not derive its authority from an elaborate statutory superstructure. It was built on policy commitment, public credibility, broad national consensus, and the personal integrity of its members. It brought together representatives of the private sector, trade unions, academia, civil society, and the financial sector united in a single mission to hold government accountable publicly and transparently to the terms of Jamaica's economic reform program. The results speak for themselves. Jamaica halved our national debt burden in a decade, and we did so across successive political administrations, which is itself an extraordinary demonstration of national consensus. The EPOP model has been hailed globally as a case study. Madam Speaker, it is unquestionable that the EPOP model was highly successful. Jamrock is designed on exactly that model. Madam Speaker, the government has noted the concerns raised by the Incorporated Master Builders Association of Jamaica on procurement clarity, transparency, accountability, and local industry participation. These are legitimate concerns, and they will be taken seriously. On the specific question of procurement, the procurement framework for NARA is not incorporated in the bill itself. It is the government's intention that the Minister of Finance will issue an order under Section 3.3 of the Public Procurement Act 2015, exempting NARA from the standard procurement regime and specifying the particular terms and conditions that will apply to NARA's procurement activities. This will allow NARA to operate with speed and flexibility that reconstruction demands, while ensuring that the procurement framework under which it operates is expressly defined, legally grounded, and subject to the oversight of the Minister of Finance. On the issue of local participation, let me be clear, local contractors, local workers, local businesses are not peripheral to this reconstruction effort. They are central to the reconstruction effort. NARA is not simply a mechanism to spend money on rebuilding. It is a mechanism to use rebuilding as a means of strengthening Jamaica's capacity, deepening domestic capability, and laying a firmer foundation for long-term growth. Under NARA, reconstruction will strengthen Jamaican capacity, not sideline it or bypass it. Madam Speaker, this bill establishes two distinct categories of projects that together constitute Jamaica's path from resilience to resurgence. They operate on different principles and must be understood separately. Pillar 1, approved reconstruction and resilience projects. These are government-led projects that NARA will coordinate, implement, and oversee directly, delivered by government directly or through public-private partnerships. This is the core reconstruction and resilience building mandate that most persons associate with NARA. These projects include the rebuilding of damaged infrastructure, roads, bridges, drainage systems, schools, health facilities, the relocation of climate resilient reconstruction of communities in high-risk zones, the transformation of towns like Black River and Falmouth into planned consolidated climate-ready urban cores, the construction of a new Kingston Public Hospital, the development of the planned government campus at the National Hero Circle, and the delivery of major logistics and transportation infrastructure, including Burnham Field. For these projects, NARA will exercise its full suite of powers: accelerated planning and approval, streamlined procurement, consolidated project management, and coordinated access to the US $6.7 billion of money.
They say the future depends on what you choose to do today. The Hanwha Canadian Patrol Submarine can be delivered first, creating new jobs, new partnerships, and enduring economic benefits.
They're almost gone. 75% off and instant shipping. It's a spiral-bound full...
On the contrary, NARA will operate with a level of project management discipline, transparency, and public reporting that has not previously been applied to government infrastructure delivery at this scale. Now, Pillar 2 designated strategic investment projects under the FAST Jamaica umbrella. FAST Jamaica, that is the Facilitated Acceleration of Strategic Transformation, will create a dedicated pathway to fast-track private sector-led strategic investment projects. NARA will not be responsible for their delivery. What NARA will provide is the power of expedition, coordinating across agencies, accelerating regulatory approvals, and compressing the enabling environment that a strategic investor needs to commit capital and commence execution. Madam Speaker, I wish to make an important announcement to the House today. Having reflected carefully on the investment landscape and the scale of capital, of private capital we will need to crowd in, we have decided to lower the FAST Jamaica investment threshold from US 150 million, which we had announced in Parliament in my budget presentation, to US $15 million. This is a deliberate decision to widen the door of resurgence. At US 15 million, a broader universe of strategic investors, local, regional, diaspora, and international investors can qualify for the FAST pathway. Imagine 100 projects at that threshold. That's $1.5 billion of private investment mobilized at speed, creating jobs, building capacity, and driving economic expansion across every region of the island. I'm sure, Madam Speaker, that as I'm speaking, investors are thinking. There are many projects sitting in various approval bodies, various municipalities, on the desk of various ministries, just waiting for a signature to approve, waiting for a yes or a no. Once you meet that 15 million US threshold, you can apply to be under FAST. You will get your yes or your no. You will get your approval. You will get your permit, and you will be coordinated into the FAST ecosystem administered by NARA. FAST Jamaica addresses a problem that has cost this country dearly for far too long. Too many promising transformational private sector investments that would create thousands of jobs, generate significant tax revenues, and reshape our economic geography have gone elsewhere. They have gone to countries that are simply more nimble, countries that can say yes to strategic investors in weeks or months, not years. Madam Speaker, the theme of my budget presentation, Building Forward Together from Resilience to Resurgence, is not a slogan. It is a program, and NARA is the delivery vehicle. For too long, Jamaica has been told about our potential is that we have lacked the ability to deliver at pace and at scale these transformational projects. Madam Speaker, the era of unrealized potential ends with this bill. Every school NARA bills will be designed for the storms of tomorrow, not the storms of yesterday. Every road, bridge, and drainage system will be built to climate resilient standards. Every community relocated from a high-risk zone will be settled in a planned service productive location. Black River and Falmouth will not be rebuilt as they were. They will be reimagined as planned, climate-ready urban cores that become a model for the region. We are building the Jamaica we always knew we could be. Through the Fast Jamaica, we are connecting that physical reconstruction to the economic transformation that Jamaica's potential has long demanded. The logistics hub at Kingston that positions us as the premier transshipment center of the hemisphere. The agricultural resilience of our rural parishes, the tourism infrastructure of our coastal communities rebuilt to a standard that commands premium positioning in the global market. The energy transition that will reduce our vulnerability to fuel price volatility and lower costs for every Jamaican household and business. And the STEAM schools that will produce human capital for the economy of tomorrow. These are not separate projects. These are the interconnected architecture of Jamaican resurgence, the realization at last of which this nation has always been capable of. Jamaica has proven before that it can use bold, consensus-based mechanism to achieve transformation at historic scale. EPOC held successive governments accountable through the most impressive macroeconomic turnaround achieved by any small island state globally. Jamrock will hold NARA accountable through reconstruction and resurgence in the same way that EPOC did. Madam Speaker, we have earned the confidence of the world's foremost development institutions. We have assembled the largest financing package in Jamaica's history. We have designed an institution with clear accountability, credible oversight, and a focused mandate. We have a framework to crowd in the private capital that will close the gap between what the storm took and what Jamaica can build. We have a bill. What we need, Madam Speaker, is a national will. The collective determination of every member of this House, every Jamaican in every parish, and every member of our diaspora around the world to build this country together forward. Yes. Madam Speaker, I commend the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill 2026 to this Honorable House. I ask that members engage it with the seriousness it deserves. I ask that we resist the temptation to allow the theoretical or the theatrical, both. We must resist the temptation for the theoretical and the theatrical to overwhelm, which we are wont to do, the practical. To become absorbed, as the leader of the opposition tried to do, to pull me into institutional debates about design, that we forget the people of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Anne, St. James, and the other parishes who are waiting for their communities to be rebuilt. For once, let us, I agree with you, member, let us join hands, but let us put the people first, truly. When we debate sometimes here, we want to put process before people. It is something that I have heard the lament on this side, but I've heard a similar lament by members on that side, that our mature democracy has produced a system where we look for process over outcome. And as you have said, sometimes we believe that perfecting the process is the outcome that we desire, regardless of whether or not the people have benefited. And I think we now have this opportunity. Yes, we must get the accountability right, the transparency right. Competitiveness is a part of our culture, and we have to find a way to have that in the NARA. We must ensure that we are developing local talent and including local capabilities. All of those things, we don't debate them. But it doesn't mean that we are going to be bogged down and move slowly because of that. The new challenge for this generation of legislators is to figure out how to create structures that are nimble, structures that are lean, structures that can respond to the disruptive world in which we exist. Structures that reward performance. I hate to use this word because it's going to be misinterpreted, but we have to have structures that reward the risk taker. Because that is how you're going to get innovation and movement at speed and pace. It is the challenge that we face, and I'm certain that the capacity elected in this room and appointed in the Senate is capable of coming up with an institutional structure that balances all of these requirements, but at the same time making sure that we move faster than we were moving before. I've always said it is a national tragedy that we have the fastest man and the fastest woman in the world, and yet we have the slowest moving bureaucratic process. Somehow it has invaded our psyche and our culture that if it didn't take long, it wasn't well done. While the rest of the world is moving way past us, while we are celebrating how well we have perfected process, and we have no celebration for how we have lifted people out of poverty, how we have gotten our roads repaired, how we have brought in new industries. That must be the focus. So, Madam Speaker, Jamaica does not need a recovery model in which process supersedes tangible outcomes, in which files move elegantly while reconstruction stalls. The people of Jamaica are not waiting for a perfect institution. They are waiting for a functioning one. They are waiting for school children to have proper learning facilities, hospitals where families can be treated, roads that we can drive on without being shaken up and stirred, and homes in which we can live safely. NARA is how we will deliver those things faster, more transparently, and with greater accountability than Jamaica has ever managed before. Madam Speaker, this House does not have to speculate about what happens when political conflict and institutional paralysis delays post-disaster reconstruction. We have a case study. In March 2026, Minister Morgan led a delegation to Lima, Peru, specifically to learn from Peru's experience after the El Nino Costero flood of early 2017. Peru passed its reconstruction law in September 2017 and established the Authority for Reconstruction with changes to lead delivery. But the program was almost immediately consumed by political crisis. The reconstruction framework was amended under political pressure, and projects were fragmented back across ministries and regional authorities. By April 2019, 18 months after reconstruction was supposed to have begun in earnest, only 27% of the approved reconstruction budget had been spent. The Comptroller General subsequently identified nearly 13,000 instances of mismanagement and 105 projects paralyzed across 11 regions.
Madam Speaker, with the time for the Prime Minister's presentation having expired, we ask that it be extended sufficiently for him to conclude his presentation.
The question is that we allow the Prime Minister to complete his debate on, well, to complete the opening of the debate on this very important NARA bill. Those against, the ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members, for the extension of the time. So, the Comptroller General of Peru subsequently identified nearly 13,000 instances of mismanagement and 105 projects paralyzed across 11 regions. Peru eventually stopped relitigating its governance model and started building differently. In 2020, it reconstituted the ARC, that is the entity that they had created, as a focused executor, implemented a government-to-government delivery partnership with the United Kingdom. So they eventually abandoned what was set up as the equivalent of what we're setting up as NARA, and went to a government-to-government delivery partnership with the United Kingdom and reformed procurement completely. The results were immediate. Procurement timelines fell from 12 months to 3 to 4 months, and the number of competitive bidders per project rose from an average.
We decided to implement NetSuite because of the complexity of the business. I have 5 times as many people outside of finance using NetSuite as I have within finance.
Why aren't more Canadians listening to what this guy's talking about?
The average funeral, Madam Speaker, we can be focused, empowered, and we can make our system accountable from the start. Peru took 3 painful years to arrive at where they are now. We are beginning at where Peru eventually arrived, not where it started. And I draw this parallel, Madam Speaker, because what I'm seeing evolving could lead to us getting trapped in the analysis paralysis cycle, where we could end up not able to resist political advantage or political opportunity, and we end up debating this forever until the emergency of Melissa has passed in the minds of the people. That's happened before. So I urge this House to think on the objective, which is to have reconstruction happen quickly, but equitably, accountably, and transparently. I believe that the bill we have presented meets the criteria. We are open to consider improvements, and I invite all the members to bring their best minds to analyzing the bill. Madam Speaker, I want to very quickly go clause by clause, as I'm required to do, to explain or give a general overview of the bill. So clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 1 contains the short title of the Act as well as its operational provisions. It provides that the Act will come into force on a date appointed by the Minister. It also provides that the dissolution and transition provisions will come into operation on a date appointed by the Minister. Clause 2, the interpretation clause. Clause 2 provides for the definitions of terms used in the Act. Key expressions such as approving entity, designated strategic investment projects, and step in order are defined. These terms will be more fully explained as we proceed through the bill. Part 2, which deals with administration. Clause 3, establishment of the authority. Clause 3 establishes the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. Will be more fully explained as we proceed through the bill. Part 2, which deals with administration. Clause 3, establishment of the authority. Clause 3 establishes the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, or the authority, as a body corporate. Clause 4 establishes NARA's functions under the Act. Its primary functions are the preparation, implementation, and oversight of approved reconstruction and resilience projects, plans, programs, activities, and works. In addition, NARA will, among other things, establish performance indicators and reporting standards which are critical to the success of this entity as an accountable entity, establish tracking, monitoring, and reporting systems, procure goods, works, and services, issue directives and operational guidelines, cause projects, programs, and plans to include standards for climate and disaster resilience, establish project management and risk management systems. Clause 4 also sets out the powers of NARA. So paragraph 2 lists powers in relation to carrying out the operational works. And so paragraph 3 clarifies that NARA enter into transactions and take actions to preserve sites of architectural and historic interests. So paragraph 4 acknowledges that NARA will utilize the existing resources of the government in carrying out its functions as appropriate. Clause 5, appointment of Chief Executive Officer and other employees. Clause 5 provides for the appointment of the CEO of NARA. This appointment is made by the Prime Minister by instrument in writing. The CEO will be responsible for the day-to-day management of NARA and act on its behalf. NARA will be able to employ such staff as may be necessary for carrying out the provision of the Act. Clause 5 includes provisions regarding the remuneration of staff, which must be in accordance with the rates prescribed by the minister responsible for the public service. Clause 6, delegation of functions. Clause 6 allows NARA and the CEO to delegate, with the approval of the minister, the performance of their functions as they consider necessary. Clause 7, power to appoint committees. Madam Speaker, the administration of this legislation will require good administration and so technical advice to ensure disaster recovery and reconstruction is resilient and in accordance with established laws, standards, and guidelines. It may therefore be necessary to appoint an appropriately constituted committee to examine and report on matters relating to the Act. This would be akin to the advisory board. Clause 7, again, the leader of the opposition missed that clause. So let me reread it. Let me read, you read it. So you realize that there is a clause for the appointment of a committee, which could be the advisory, which is, yes. So your concerns are addressed. No, it's just separate. So clause 7 of the Act allows the minister to appoint such committees as required for the members to be compensated for their services. Clause 8, funds of the authority. Clause 8 provides that the funds of the authority will be the funds placed at its disposal by Parliament, as well as other monies or property which may become payable to or vested in NARA. Clause 9, accounts and audits. Clause 9 mandates NARA to follow good accounting practices, which must be in accordance with generally accepted principles promulgated by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica. These financial statements must be audited annually by a registered public accountant appointed by the NARA CEO with the approval of the Cabinet Secretary. The statement of accounts audited must form part of NARA's annual report under Clause 11. Clause 10, reports, returns, etc. Clause 10 requires NARA to furnish reports, returns, accounts, and other information to the Minister with respect to its activities. Clause 11, annual and other reports. Clause 11 requires NARA to prepare annual reports which must include the audited statements of accounts under Clause 9. The annual report and audited financials must be submitted to the Minister no later than 4 months after the end of the financial year. The Minister must then have the annual report, annual statement of accounts, and auditor's report tabled in Parliament. Clause 12, corporate plan, etc. Clause 12 requires NARA to submit a corporate plan, operating plan, and its estimates of revenues and expenditure to the Ministry by the 30th of September each year. Clause 13, directions to the authority. Clause 13 empowers the Minister to give directions to NARA. Such directions will seek to ensure the effective performance of NARA's function and that approved reconstruction and resilience projects, as well as designated strategic investment projects, are executed in accordance with Cabinet's approval and the public interest. Clause 14, obligation to secrecy. Clause 14 creates an obligation of secrecy and confidentiality for employees of NARA and other persons having an official duty under the Act. Disclosure contrary to this obligation is an offence. However, the obligation is subject to the proviso that it does not apply to any disclosure that is required by the Act or any other law. Clause 15, indemnification of the Chief Executive Officer. Clause 15 allows NARA to indemnify the CEO or any other employee for losses with respect to civil, criminal, or administrative actions or proceedings by virtue of their employment with NARA, provided that said employee acted honestly and in good faith. Clause 16, right to indemnify. Clause 16 further provides that the CEO or other employee are entitled to indemnification by NARA in defending any civil, criminal, or administrative action or proceedings where they were substantially successful on the merits of their defense in the matter. Madam Speaker, Part 3, which deals with reconstruction and resilience projects, programs, and plans. Under Part 3, Clause 17, approved projects. Madam Speaker, Clause 17 provides for one of the central features of the NARA framework, the official Cabinet-approved list of reconstruction and resilience projects and designated strategic investment projects under FAST Jamaica. Clause 17 requires NARA to develop programs and detailed plans to include project scope, delivery arrangements, and timelines for their implementation of approved reconstruction and resilience projects. Implementation is subject to the approval of Cabinet. Clause 18, programs. Clause 18 deals first with reconstruction and resilience programs, which must be developed by NARA in consultation with relevant persons and in accordance with best practice and prescribed requirements. The goods, works, and services to be procured and the relevant persons involved in the program must be stated. The program must be submitted to Cabinet for approval and must be accompanied by the relevant plans for implementation. Clause 19. Clause 19 requires NARA to prepare the plans for implementation of approved reconstruction and resilience projects and monitor their implementation. The plan must be reviewed and periodically updated as necessary. NARA must establish mechanisms for receiving continuous and current natural and climatic environmental processes and seek to eliminate, mitigate, or minimize adverse impacts. Clause 20, the register. Clause 20 provides that NARA shall cause a register of approved reconstruction and resilience projects to be kept. The register will be updated periodically with the approved projects appearing in the official list issued by Cabinet. The register will be made available electronically for public inspection. Clause 21, expedition of approval processes. Clause 21 provides the mechanism for expediting the approval processes relating to the timely completion of approved reconstruction and resilience projects and designated strategic investment projects. It allows NARA to convene meetings of the various approving entities to establish timelines for inspections, evaluations and assessments, deadlines for determining applications and other inputs that inform applications. In many instances, approvals depend on inputs from entities that do not themselves approve the applications. Clause 21 contemplates all such matters will be brought within the framework to ensure complete efficiency and coordination of these critical projects. Having convened the approving entities, NARA will be authorized to issue directives regarding the manner in which applications and other inputs are to be handled. Clause 22, directives. Clause 22 requires an approving entity to manage the application review process in accordance with NARA's directives. Such directives must be issued in writing and may require the approving entity to A, process applications concurrently or sequentially, B, coordinate the processing of applications among other approving entities, C, proceed with consideration of an application where an approving entity may otherwise delay or decline to process an application solely because approval or input from another approving entity is pending. D, rely on approvals previously granted. E, determine an application within a specified period. And F, make exceptions to zoning requirements. Clause 23, actions to address non-compliance with directives. Clause 23 provides the mechanism for NARA to address non-compliance with its directives by approving entities. Where there is non-compliance with a directive, NARA may apply to the minister for step-in orders or take other steps necessary to secure compliance with the directive. Before applying to the minister, NARA must first obtain independent expert advice on the matter and must be satisfied that the requirements for approval have been met or exceeded, or that the terms, conditions, or qualifications of the approvals are not necessary. NARA must notify the relevant approving entity in writing that it intends to apply for a step-in order, providing reasons, providing the expert advice obtained, and stating the steps taken to address the concerns of the authority in relation to the application. Clause 24 deals with step-in orders. Clause 24 provides that the minister may issue the step-in order approving the application or modifying the conditions of approval in relation to the matter for which NARA has sought a step-in order. The step-in order, once issued, will have effect as if it were the approval of the approving entity. However, prior to issuing a step-in order, the minister must be satisfied that the approving entity failed to comply with a directive of NARA, was notified of the non-compliance, that the independent expert advice was sought which supports the application for a step-in order, and that it is appropriate in all the circumstances to make the order. The minister must also give the approving entity the opportunity to make representations prior to issuing the step-in order. Madam Speaker, I wish members to pay attention to these clauses because they substantially seek to balance the crux of the matter, which is to expedite approvals, expedite permitting, but at the same time, pay attention to the essence of our administrative law, which is to have a process of independent review, to allow for appeal, and to involve expert advice. And we have tried to capture all of that. So I encourage members to look at clauses 22, 23, 24, and of course 25, which is a designation of strategic investment projects. Clause 25 allows Cabinet to designate a project to be a strategic investment project, which provides similar benefits as approved reconstruction and resilience projects. The privilege of this designation will depend on the Cabinet being satisfied that the proposed investment value or investment threshold is at least $15 million or equivalent. The project can be integrated with the approved reconstruction and resilience projects that are already approved, or contributes to the achievement of the purposes of the Act. And the project falls within a list of specified sectors or any other sector that the Cabinet may determine where strategic opportunities arise that serve the reconstruction and economic resilience objective of the Act. The investment threshold may be amended by order subject to affirmative resolution. Clause 26. Clause 26, which deals with regulations, provides the usual power of the minister to make regulations to give effect to the provisions of the Act. This is to be done in consultation with NARA and subject to affirmative resolution. So the House is always involved. Clause 27, amendment of schedules. Clause 27 provides that the minister may amend the schedule. Part 4, dissolution and transitional arrangements. Clause 28 under Part 4 deals with the dissolution of the authority. Madam Speaker, it will be recalled that NARA is intended to be a temporary measure. So within the bill, we have put in a process for its dissolution. To give effect to this, Part 4 of the Act sets out how NARA will ultimately come to an end. As indicated earlier, this Part 4 will come into force on a future date to be appointed by the minister and is therefore worded prospectively. This will allow the affairs of NARA to be properly wound up before its sudden dissolution. Clause 29, savings of agreements, arrangements, etc. Clause 29 provides a transfer of any reference to NARA after its dissolution to be construed as a reference to the government. This encompasses any agreement, arrangement, contract, instrument, or other document. The provision includes the necessary safeguards to preserve the interests of third parties and the public. Clause 30, the transitional arrangements for money. Clause 30 provides that after dissolution, monies held by or become payable to NARA shall be credited or payable to the consolidated fund. Clause 31, devolution of assets and liabilities. Clause 31 provides that assets, rights, and liabilities of NARA shall become vested in the Commission of Lands, Accountant General, or the government as appropriate. Clause 32, transfer of official records. Clause 32 provides that the records of NARA shall be transferred to the responsible ministry. Clause 33, transitional arrangements. Clause 33 provides that the transfer of real property under Clause 32 shall not be treated as a transfer for which transfer tax, property tax, or stamp duty is chargeable. Clause 34, duration of the Act. Clause 34 provides that the Act shall continue in force until the day after the day of dissolution. The schedule. Office of the Chief Executive Officer of the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. Paragraph 1, tenure of the CEO. Paragraph 1 provides that The tenure of the CEO shall not exceed 3 years. It also limits eligibility by excluding sitting members of either House of Parliament or local government. Paragraph 2, publication of the name of the CEO. Paragraph 2 provides that the name of the CEO and every change in CEO must be published in the Gazette. Paragraph 3, resignation. Paragraph 3 provides that the CEO may resign at any time and that resignation takes effect as from the date set out in the instrument. Paragraph 4, revocation of appointment of the CEO. Paragraph 4 provides that the Prime Minister may revoke the appointment of the CEO for any of the prescribed reasons, including convictions past or present, inability, very important, inability to perform functions due to mental or physical infirmity, bankruptcy, or failure to act or to carry out the functions under the Act. Paragraph 5, authentication of documents. Paragraph 5 provides for the authentication of documents, and paragraph 6 of records. Paragraph 6 provides the keeping of business records for NARA by the CEO. Paragraph 7, the office of the CEO is not a public office. Paragraph 7 established that the CEO is not a public office for the purpose of Chapter 5 of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, it is important to reassure the public that while we work assiduously to procure the necessary goods, works, and services of for NARA's effectiveness, we will treat with procurement in a manner that is expeditious but ensures transparency, accountability, and fiscal prudence. So in addressing the procurement issue, Madam Speaker, to this end, the NARA will be designated as an exempt body. I said this earlier, under Section 3 of the Public Procurement Act 2015, reflecting the extraordinary nature and urgency of the reconstruction mandate. While exemption from the Act provides NARA with the necessary operational flexibility to undertake procurement at the pace and scale required, the government recognizes that this flexibility must be accompanied by a purpose-built procurement architecture that ensures efficiency, value for money, transparency, and accountability. The procurement system will be designated to operate at speed without diluting governance, internal control, or public trust. The authority will ensure that a comprehensive procurement policy and governance framework is designed, establishing principles, objectives, and rules governing all procurement activity, including ethical standards, conflict of interest provisions, oversight, reporting, and accountability. Madam Speaker, I believe I've given a comprehensive overview of the bill itself and the objectives that the government intends to achieve. Madam Speaker, Melissa created a crisis, but every crisis presents an opportunity. It is up to us as the leaders of the nation to recognize the opportunity and to determine in ourselves to seize the opportunity. History and time gives every man, every community, every country, every nation a window of opportunity. Some people look at the window and say, what a beautiful vista, what a beautiful view. Some people actually close the window, and some people wait until the sun sets on the beauty provided by the window. There have been times in our history where we have dithered. We have become trapped in extensive political litigation of the actions required. But there have been times in our history when we have come together in a time of crisis, where we have accepted the challenge, embraced the opportunity, and we have acted as one people. And whenever we have done that, the country has benefited. Madam Speaker, when we acted to treat with political violence and form the Electoral Commission, we acted as one, and we were able to eliminate political violence from our political culture. We can do it. Madam Speaker, when we face a national debt of 147% of GDP, we were on the brink of collapse financially as a nation. We came together. I was leader of the opposition at that time. No bill that came to Parliament was unnecessarily held up for any political gain. I gave instructions to my members. We must be present. We must help to improve the bills, and we must get them passed. We've played our part. The nation benefited. Today, we have cut the debt in half, and we are still, even with a disaster, still on course to keep our target of debt reduction. Country has benefited from epoch, all the stakeholders coming together to hold government to account for policy. It's the same framework that we intend to mobilize for the reconstruction after Hurricane Melissa. So I urge members to resist.
At Money Mart, we're more than just a quick money fix. We're part of your neighborhood. I needed cash fast.
To usurp. I believe if we look at the interests of the nation, we can rebuild Jamaica in the image that we all have in our minds. Jamaica, the prosperous, developing, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise. God bless you.
Okay. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. I can't talk, so I'm gonna hear me.
Business, the member from Kingston, Eastern Port Royal.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. As you can appreciate, this matter, and especially the bill being just tabled, and we certainly like to see sight of the Prime Minister's presentation. We will not respond today, but we'll hold until next week, Tuesday.
To say for the record, Madam Speaker, which I didn't say when I opened, it was not the intention of the government to seek to close the bill today. We recognize that the opposition would want to review the various clauses that are new to the bill, and members would want to adequately prepare themselves to participate in this historic and momentous occasion.
If there are no other members who would like to contribute today, House Leader, read the suspension of the debate. Is there anyone who wants to go? House Leader?
Madam Speaker, I move for the suspension of the debate on the NARA bill until next week.
Thank you, House Leader. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
The Speaker is not intended to do any further business today, but just to signal Next week we will start our sectoral presentations. We will be hearing from Dr. Honorable Horace Chang, who will start on the government side, and I know we have scheduled the leader of opposition business, Philip Powell, who will speak, and Member Crawford on the, but definitely Member Powell will speak next week. So I'm advising the country that we will get into our sectoral presentations starting next week. With that said, I ask that we adjourn for a date to be set.
Members, it is safer. It's safer. Members, the question is that we do now adjourn for a date to be fixed. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. This honorable house now stands adjourned.
Madam Speaker, post-mortem. Why are you annoyed, Madam Speaker?
I tell you, say, I'm so annoyed, me I tell you. I just don't like how government work. Prime Minister preach how things slower and government process slower. And we have the fastest man in the world and the fastest woman in the world. And we have the slowest bureaucracy. And them contribute toward the friggin' bureaucracy too. Them contribute towards the friggin' bureaucracy. And then they will talk about government slow and government no work. 6 months after hurricane and we can't pass the Naira bill all now. And it's another delay this because I know the PNP stay. Tomorrow when they come next week, the whole of them want talk. The whole of them want talk tomorrow and ask for this and ask for that next thing a year now. Amendment and the next thing a year now. Go back and then. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind sharp, we can close tomorrow next week. Because a year, so we're going to have 2 sectoral debate next week. So how that I go work with 2 sectoral debate plus debate pan the Naira bill? I mean, I know, me just sick and tired of the whole of them. I tell you this God truth. And a one day government, God, one day then come a parliament. One friggin' day then come a parliament. Me can't take the slowness. Slowness I get to me, I tell you, Bridget, it I get to me. Because I don't know why on earth they don't work. They take the whole friggin' Easter off. Like them a pitney a go to school. They take the whole friggin' Easter off. Like a pitney, like them then their primary school. Now they come back to them now. The bill can't debate because the bill not ready to be debated. And next month of March. Next month of March, April, March, May. Next month of May. Next month of May. And we can't pass the bill the bill yet. Eh? Me can't take it while there's something I just annoy me with government and I don't care. Then something that piss me off because if people are dead for hungry and people are suffering and people out the door and not appalling, why the delay? Why the delay, King? I just few couple new class with the Prime Minister bring the PNB could have debated and next week it just close. They could have debated, King, and then next week we just close it. When they are going to start from scratch to next week now, when Mark Walling come with him one bag of fat next week, now, because you know he stay ready. Next week when he come now, he want to come, he want to rewrite the entire bill. And then you can bet you say when him done talk, you got the eggs up one for run a set Mary, the eggs up Damien Crawford, the eggs up Angela Brown Burke and the whole of them. Don't tell me about the PM know what he's doing, King. Because you're going to say this have to do with this have to do with the Prime Minister. This have to do with the system that is in place by the whole of them. So annoyed, man. Sure. And then, me don't know where sectoral debate I go because that can't stay. That can't stay. I hope they do the bill. I hope they do the bill first. before then come with a sectoral debate next week. What then do the bill first? What then debate the bill first and pass it and vote on it before they go to the sectoral? Because that's not important. Because nothing when they're talking a sectoral debate, relevant unless we have the NARA bill for push things through and for what the word name? The country. Nothing when they say in a sectoral bill, it not relevant if we not have NARA. Because NARA is a vehicle that the government is planning to use to cut past some of the bureaucracy so we can build back the country quick and fast. So I hope next week, first on the agenda, debating the bill. May the sectoral sitting state till I back because that's foolish. Oh. Exactly, yeah. The PNP say people are suffer and people under tarpaulin, but yet still ain't couldn't start the debate this week. Me never said if we close the bill this week, King, because the Prime Minister already say at the start say he not expect it to be debated and passed this today. Because the Prime Minister not fool. But the PNP more than could have started today, King. You can't tell me nothing. There's absolutely nothing in the bill where Mark couldn't give him presentation because he was there stopping the Prime Minister all along and a chat. So why couldn't give him presentation now? He's deliberately doing it, King. He's deliberately doing it. Me I watch him long enough, they're knifing, sly old facts they stay, Yeah, me I watch him a long time, he's stay, King. I saw him stay. Long time we are watching, sure. He deliberately do it, man. The Prime Minister had no intention to close the bill today because Prime Minister no fool. He wanted to start the debate and then next week we'll close it and then we'll vote on it and then the bill is passed and then it's sent to the Senate and then the Senate debate it. Remember saying other just the lower house alone are going to debate it in a King. Remember how the procedure going to Parliament. Yeah. Them are delayed for Joe Winston. We see right through it. We know such a Prime Minister is a good nice, a humble man in go say, but we not blind. We watch Parliament long enough to know where the PNP are do. Today they keep press conference fabulous. And the people them are suffer. People them are under tarpaulin. People them not live no warehouse in crisis. People are dying in the street. Whoa! I know when for debate the bill now. Of course, King, before the end of April, it will wrap up. And me, we will start rebuild up back with damn country. We can't allow the PNP to distract we, King, because all the PNP want is so. You see, today when they come out with the first thing, they say, King, 6 months. 6 months since the storm, and people are not appalling. And we have been waiting. We have not been complaining. Can we give the government time? And now 6 months and they don't do nothing. That's what they want. They want to delay the government. So 6 months from now, they can come back and say, oh, it's December. It's December. Oh, God. 1 year after the hurricane and nothing not done. That is what they want. Yeah, they're not traction, so they might look traction from we. They might look traction from we. First, they come to the 6 months. And when I look at the sufferation, when I look at the sufferation, and the people are calling us every day, the people are calling them every day. But none of them couldn't start the debate today. Make them move themselves. If you're one of them, if I one of them ever pass by you and tell me about people, look here, black chap city and that come out of my life. We be ignorant, me don't want to hear from none of them today. Mute any comrade put up their head, moderator, mute them. Any comrade text anything, mute them. I don't want your friend if it's the afternoon. I don't want you nothing from them. I don't want you nothing from them. Any one of them put up their head, mute them. Because today the people in my dead few and grand suffer. Who bring me comrade bread up here? We don't join from the list. The rest of comrade them.
Where you join me out of the list for me a comrade?
Me no business. Me upset, man.
No, but Munchi, I think you're disingenuous.
What me do now? What me do now?
All right. The NARA bill was brought to Parliament today.
No,
right?
it was brought after the Prime Minister did his debate. But what he did was he take out he bring something new to add to it.
The Prime Minister outlined the NARA bill today.
Yes, it was tabled to and the debate supposed to start today. It's not the first mark I see. So my things are massive for, but it could have made them the stay, man. You know, I don't understand with the PNP, you Blair. It no matter what do the bill I go pass, you know, so we not waste no time.
You're gonna give me a chance to speak.
I'm in a good mood today, no, because I don't like when PNP come to Parliament can disturb my presence, you know.
The Prime Minister, in his wisdom, said that he did not intend for the bill to be debated and passed today.
Agree. And we agree.
Hold on. A comprehensive bill like that.
Oh, please. I don't know bill. I don't wake up and come mislead the people them in a you Blair. This is not a new bill. What the Prime Minister did was put in some new clause in the bill today. The bill was already tabled, and what he did was amend some things, put in some new things, and retable the bill. Why Mark Golden interject and bother the Prime Minister every minute today if he never intend for debate? Allow the Prime Minister for doing presentation and they come back next week. Why Mark Golden distract the Prime Minister whole live long day today? I know I'm saying prepared. Into distracted man.
Madam Speaker, you're laying your credibility on the line by making
every day people can tell me, I bet there's some way you are saying I have no credibility left. So it's okay. All I'm saying, you Blair, next week we better come prepare and the bill will be debated and passed next week. We not get no extra time if you go do that more. Because I so not try though.
Let me tell you something. The bill does not need the opposition to pass.
Agreed. But we want to, because we have a government that like follow the rule, we want to do an opinion.
Hold on. In the Prime Minister,
echo. In the park.
No, we're not there at the park. In the Prime Minister closing remark, the Prime Minister stressed that in 2030, when we had a similar issue, the Parliament coalesced around the set of actions which was necessary. 2013.
And that when the JLP was in the opposition.
Can I be allowed to make this?
No, just want clarity.
But the Prime Minister said he was leader of the opposition.
Yeah, yes, because the Prime Minister was a responsive and a responsible opposition. Mark Golden is a spiteful opposition leader who deliberately set back the country, try to rip every legislation apart what the government bring, and deliberately try to prevent, if it's up to him, the government don't pass apps. Oh, take your document, comrade, whether. If it's up to the PNP, comrade, you, the government don't pass absolutely no bill. So that is why you're quick and say 2013, yes, because at the time, King, we had a responsible opposition leader government business, which the Prime Minister will put country over self. You so much, King, you so much time the Prime Minister went on to say, please, don't bother with the theatric. Please, don't bother with the grandstanding. Let us come together and pass this bill. You so much time the PNP say it. The Prime Minister said, King, because the Prime Minister know the PNP style. The Prime Minister know the PNP style. Some of the women can talk about 2013. In 2013, we had a responsible opposition leader and a responsible Prime Minister, leader of government. How did it? It was Anjo, leader of the opposition. So therefore, we could have trust King that the Prime Minister was going to put the country first. Under the leadership of Mark Jefferson Golden, every single bill what the government bring to the Parliament, Mark Golden try to rip it up. Allow me to tell Betsy, tell me one time when the government bring a bill to the Parliament and Mark Golden vote with the government. Tell me one time from Mark Golden, the opposition leader, regardless of what the bill is. Tell me Mark ever vote with the government yet. Exactly. That is why the Prime Minister was at pains to say to the opposition, please, let us come together and do this for Jamaica. That is why the Prime Minister was saying it. He said it more than once. Because he knew that when the PNP come this evening and when they come tomorrow, a pure grandstanding. Pure grandstanding and come. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet money to any comrades and next week when Mark come, King, Mark will come with a brand new bill. Bet you any money. I bet you know any money labor right and any comrade want to bet me a money say next week when Mark come will come with a brand new bill. Mark will take this with the, that is why I'm going to do it, I don't know. He might go take this with the Prime Minister have and he might go say, if the government suggests ABC, but based on how I know it normally go, C, D, E, F, G is better. You want to bet me? You want to bet me any money, Betsy? Remember it was there back and forth with the Prime Minister. What type of agency it's going to be? If it's going to be executive or it's going to be this and that, you know? Remember it took time out of the Prime Minister presentation for explain to the Prime, if we want to tell the Prime Minister, say, oh, the legislation must be, is it an executive or is it this and that? I style that. So I don't know when my comrade brother come and tell me about the Prime Minister in 2013. We know what happened in 2013, comrade. We know what happened. Now that is why we tell you, so we on the ball and we see through, you know. And next week, whether we come with 100 suggestion, or with 20 suggestion, or with 0 suggestion, the bill will be passed next week without amendment, comrades. All right. Anyway, what has gone on the parliament? Can we never catch the first part? Yeah, unruly Ellis, like we don't know them. Like we know, like from 2020 we are watch 2020 we are watch Mark now. Then that person could have do the same thing over and over again, wife style, and we don't know them. Eh? They say fool me one, shame on me, but fool me. Where go? Where they fool me one story go for? I don't even know it, but anyway, it was say. Then we could have not know Mark Golding from in time until now. We could have not know Mark Golding, comrade. We know next week Mark Golding will come with a brand new bill criticizing every single thing at the... All right, look here. Listen to me now, guys. King, today when Mark Golding was at the press conference, did Mark Golding not speak about what the Naira bill was about? Yes or no? Today, when Mark Jefferson Golding was at the PNP Press Confernce, and one reporter asked him about the Naira bill, did Mark Golding not explain what is in the government bill? Or are me deaf? Are me deaf today? I misunderstand what going on at the press conference. Did Mark Golding not take it exactly, Daphne? So the backside, the community going to tell me about this, and is that a new bill? All the Prime Minister did was bring more things to the bill. That is all what he did. Him take out, must have, I don't know him take out and when put it, but that's all he did. The structure, it remained the same. Doesn't mean like that with me and the PNP then cannot agree. That is what me and they cannot agree, King. Because they must say, oh, me disingenuous, I mean, not the credibility. And then I have none because if the PNP don't know what is in the bill, what was Mark Golding talking about today? What was Mark Golding talking about today, Skyfall? Because remember somebody asked him about what he would suggest and he come with a long story about what is in the bill and what is not in the bill. So how in the hell exactly, King, the Prime Minister show him off with the new things then? That's, yeah. We don't know who them are trying to trick about how much is a new bill and this and that. All right, me now argue because I don't talk. All me I say next week when they come prepared with them all they want to suggest. But the bill will be passed and sent to the upper house, and we're going to pass that bill quick and fast. And by May, June, we're supposed to start to rebuild our country. We cannot allow the People's National Party to distract the Jamaica Labour Party and set us back so they can't have something to campaign on. That is all I'm going to say about today. I'm done on that. I'm done talk. Nationwide News at 5. Yes, go on, Empress.
News Network.
Yes.
Comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And I'm Shalois Michael.
In Nationwide News at this hour, from promise to action.
The Prime Minister opens the debate on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, in the House of Representatives today.
We are not restoring a pre-Melissa Jamaica. We are building a post-Melissa Jamaica that the generations before us dreamed of and the generations after us will inherit.
Opposition leader Mark Golding warns that a housing crisis is developing due to the failures of the government's ROOFs program.
The ROOFs program is hopelessly inadequate and is being incompetently administered.
KAC summons former leaders and the current CEO of the University Hospital of the West Indies to appear before the committee.
Dancehall producer Javi retains high-profile legal team following his arrest in connection with a shooting incident at the Big Wall Revolution Soca Party.
In news from the rest of the world, Guyana's Prime Minister seeks to assure the country that there is no need to worry about fuel availability.
Israel and Lebanon agree to hold direct negotiations following meeting in Washington.
In sports, Barbados maintains the advantage against Jamaica in the West Indies' 4-day encounter at Chedwin Park.
And later in our broadcast, Tuesday, April 14, 2026, in our cover story at 5:35, the IMF is warning that the global economy is at risk of recession if the U.S.-Israel war with Iran continues and high energy prices persist. Barbadian economist Jeremy Stephen and energy consultant Stephen Wedderburn will join us.
The opposition PNP is calling on the Holness administration to provide full accountability for the hundreds of millions the government collected through the Support Jamaica platform.
I know that diaspora groups are anxious to see an accounting for all the funds that they provided through the government portals.
You'll hear more from the PNP's media briefing.
Taking you around the world at 6:45, Guyana's Prime Minister Brigadier Mark Phillips is seeking to assure the country that there is no need to worry about fuel availability as gas stations are being forced to close due to fuel shortages. You'll hear more.
At 7 is the comments section. We're asking, what's your reaction to high schools allowing boys to wear non-traditional hairstyles? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook Nationwide News Network and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
And at 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre McDonald. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile Nationwide 90FM, RevoNews.ai, and on the Revo News app available on Google Play and the App Store. This Tuesday afternoon, it's Tuesday, April 14, 2026.
The hour is brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in sweet, red chili, or citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The government is seeking to pass the long-awaited legislation to establish the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness brought the amendments in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He described NARA as the most consequential legislation for Jamaica's development to date. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
From promise to action, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the era of the country fulfilling its potential is here, represented by the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA.
The vision of what Jamaica can be has existed in our national consciousness for generations. What has been missing is not the dream. What has been missing is the institutional machinery to turn that dream into delivered reality. To take the plans from the shelves and drive them through to completion at pace. Hurricane Melissa, as terrible as it has been, has given Jamaica something rare, a moment of national urgency. This bill is how we seize that moment. We're not restoring a pre-Melissa Jamaica. We are building a post-Melissa Jamaica that the generations before us dreamed of and the generations after us will inherit.
NARA is the government's specialized statutory agency to lead post-Hurricane Melissa reconstruction. It acts as a single point of coordination for long-term recovery, focusing on rapid project delivery, resilient infrastructure, and public-private partnerships backed by extensive international financing.
Dr. Holness says the bill will guide Jamaica into a new era of prosperity with the backing of the world's leading multilaterals.
This bill has been crafted to deliver the institutional architecture through which Jamaica will convert catastrophe into competitive advantage and become a stronger, more productive, and more prosperous nation. Madam Speaker, the world has already signaled its confidence in Jamaica's capacity to lead this resurgence. The International Monetary Fund, the World Bank Group, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Development Bank of the Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, and the Caribbean Development Bank have jointly committed a coordinated financing package of up to $6.7 billion, the single largest and most comprehensive development financing package ever assembled for Jamaica.
As part of the oversight of NARA, the government will establish the Jamaica Reconstruction and Resilience Oversight Committee, JAMROC. This is a public body that will ensure that NARA performs up to standard.
The people of Jamaica will be able to judge through JAMROC public reporting whether NARA is performing. And it is not the accountability chain will be clear, direct, and consequential. JAMROC will operate similarly to the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, which was established to monitor the implementation of Jamaica's economic reform program. Madam Speaker, similar to the economic reform program, reconstruction is not a government project. It is a national project. Its oversight must reflect that. That is why I am announcing today that the government will make provision for JAMROC to include a member nominated by the leader of the opposition.
Dr. Holness is urging the government and opposition to join hands and put the people first through NARA. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness says the previously announced private sector investment vehicle facilitated acceleration of strategic transformation, Fast Jamaica, will benefit from NARA's ability to cut through bureaucratic red tape.
Fast Jamaica, that is the facilitated acceleration of strategic transformation, will create a dedicated pathway to fast-track private sector-led strategic investment projects. NARA will not be responsible for their delivery. What NARA will provide is the power of expedition, coordinating across agencies, accelerating regulatory approvals, and compressing the enabling environment that a strategic investor needs to commit capital and commence execution.
Fast Jamaica will establish a dedicated pathway to fast-track strategic priority investment projects critical to Jamaica's $1 or more. However, Dr. Holness also announced on Tuesday a lowering of the floor for Fast Jamaica to give a wider access to the opportunity.
Having reflected carefully on the investment landscape and the scale of capital, of private capital we will need to crowd in, we have decided to lower the Fast Jamaica investment threshold from US $150 million, which we had announced in Parliament in my budget presentation, to US $15 million. This is a deliberate decision to widen the door of resurgence. At US $15 million, a broader universe of strategic investors, local, regional, diaspora, and international investors can qualify for the fast pathway. Imagine 100 projects at that threshold. That's $1.5 billion of private investment mobilized at speed, creating jobs, building capacity, and driving economic expansion across every region of the island.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Opposition leader Mark Golding says the government has failed to provide adequate housing relief for Jamaicans impacted by the passage of Hurricane Melissa. He made the claim at a media briefing on Tuesday. According to Golding, a crisis is developing due to the failures of the government's restoration of owner or occupant family shelters roofs program. He's urging the government to dig deeper into its coffers and provide more meaningful relief. Mahira Stewart tells us more.
Roofs provides cash grants to individuals whose homes suffered damage from Hurricane Melissa. Through the $10 billion initiative, the government provides tiered assistance at $75,000, $200,000, and $500,000, ranging from the least to most impacted Jamaicans. But opposition leader Mark Golding says the program is ineptly handled.
things were appearing to be on track for recovery. However, that time has passed and the glaring gaps in Jamaica's response to the disaster have been laid bare. The government's primary program for addressing the shelter crisis occasioned by Hurricane Melissa, the roofs program, is hopelessly inadequate and is being incompetently administered.
He says the government's failure to effectively implement roofs threatens the lives and livelihoods of many Jamaicans.
We have heard from the MPs the horror stories of those who were promised and have not received any support or the support that they were promised. The difficulties of access, the lack of comprehensive coverage of people who are in desperate need of help. Tens of thousands of Jamaican families are living in a post-Melissa environment where they lack habitable shelter in which they can rebuild their lives. This is a deplorable situation which ought to be the focus and priority of the government at this time.
Golding pointed to the nearly $7 billion pledged by various multilaterals to assist Jamaica following the passage of the hurricane. According to him, barely a fraction of those funds is being used to address the immediate needs of those who need it.
The $10 billion under the roof program, less than a third of 1% of GDP, less than 10% of the immediately available resources that Jamaica could draw down under its disaster risk financing framework is hopelessly inadequate to meet the challenges presented by Hurricane Melissa to the housing stock of the country, especially in the worst affected parishes. This situation has to be resolved.
He's calling on the government to reopen the roofs program and provide a larger sum to better meet the needs of those suffering. The PNP president was flanked by several opposition MPs who served the constituents of Western Jamaica who shared similar concerns. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader is demanding a full account of the hundreds of millions the government collected through the Support Jamaica platform. He made the comment as the PNP released the numbers for its Melissa relief efforts. Khaleesi Wright has that story.
Support Jamaica portal was launched to mobilize support, channel relief, and coordinate recovery efforts in the aftermath of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. The government says funds raised through the portal will be directed towards the purchase of building materials to assist in rebuilding the homes of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. But Mark Goulding says to date, the government has failed to be transparent on the issue.
There has been no proper accounting for any of those resources. In fact, what we have seen is fundraising events. I can think of one in Florida where funds were routed through a U.S. NGO with which a minister of government has an association. I can't see how that was an appropriate way for handling hurricane relief, where the government of Jamaica is part of the promotion of the event to raise funds.
His comment comes after the PNP released data regarding its own Melissa relief expenditure. According to the PNP, it had received $3.9 million in donations to its Hurricane Melissa Relief Fund up to March 31 this year. It says to date it has spent $4.6 million to cover cash donations to needy Jamaicans. The party says 75% or $3.4 million of the funds collected have been used to purchase food packages. 21% of the funds were allocated under a section labeled transportation. That's just shy of $1 million. The PNP says nearly $26,000 were provided by the Jamaica Sunshine Foundation for the party's Adopt a Family program in eastern Westmoreland. It says all those funds were directed to housing support for specific donor instructions. The party says as at March 31, 2,500 food packages have been distributed, along with 3,000 cases of water and juice. Goulding says as Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is seeking to secure additional support from the diaspora during a trip to the United States, they should demand he provide an account of the funding.
And I hear the Prime Minister's up in New York to beg more resources from the diaspora. I hope that whoever is there will demand of them, of the government, of him,
a fulsome accounting for everything that has been received so far and how those funds have been utilized.
Police your right for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
16 minutes after 5. Continuing the news, at least 2 former leaders and the current chief executive officer of the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, are to be summoned before the Public Accounts Committee, PAC. The request was made at Tuesday's sitting of the PAC by Chairman Julian Robinson.
Members, from the first meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, it is apparent to me that the current management of the University Hospital is not in a position to answer many of the questions that we have related to the operations of the University Hospital. I'm seeking the committee's agreement for us to summon the current CEO of the hospital, who is on leave, Mr. Mitchell, the previous CEO, Mr. Allen, I believe his name is, and the former chairman of the board, Mr. Chai Chow. So I'm asking members for their agreement for that, so that we can have many of the questions that we have answered at this committee.
Indeed, Chairman, I would second that motion. Agreed, Mr. Chairman.
Julian Robinson, PAC Chairman. Kevin Allen was appointed as the UHWI's CEO in November 2015. He was replaced by Fitzgerald Mitchell in June 2024. Former board chairman Wayne Chai Chung resigned in December 2023 after only serving 1 year in the post. The men are being summoned to answer questions relating to financial irregularities found at the UHWI by the Auditor General. In the AG's report, 4 companies were found to have improperly used the institution's tax-exempt status to avoid customs duties. They are Supreme Laundry Services, Willman Sales, Scientific Medical Services, and Jack Den Limited. It resulted in tax revenue losses to the government amounting to $23 million. It's unclear how long the practice had been taking place.
Dancehall producer Javi has retained the King's counsel Peter Champagny following his arrest on Sunday in connection with a shooting incident at the Big Wall Revolution Soca Party in St. Andrew. Javi is the music producer of Dancehall Artist 450. The legal team also includes attorneys at law Saeed Bernard and Richard Lynch. Javi, whose given name is Javel Morrison, was reportedly among a group of men who allegedly attacked podcaster Jay Frey as he was leaving the restroom at the event. According to the police, the physical altercation developed around 9:30 p.m. They report that it escalated and gunshots were traded. When the shooting subsided, 2 men were found suffering from gunshot wounds. Another bystander was also shot and injured. The injured patrons were taken to hospital. Javi was taken to the Halfway Tree police station on Sunday night. Up to news time, he remained in custody.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, is seeking expanded powers to directly place minors in the Child Diversion Program. The proposal was put forward by Assistant DPP Dwayne Green as part of broader recommendations to strengthen the Child Diversion Act.
When the matter comes before the court, prosecutors have to make a recommendation to the judge for the matter to go to child diversion. Now we find that a bit of an issue dealing certainly with the decision to prosecute. All the prosecutor can do is to make a recommendation to the court, but it means that the court doesn't have to listen to the prosecutor's recommendation. The court can say, well, I disagree. The matter should not go to diversion. Let's go to trial. But then it is the very same prosecutor who held the view that the matter should be diverted who would have to try the case. I believe that the prosecutor should have the option to refer a matter directly to child diversion.
The proposal was submitted before a joint select committee of Parliament reviewing the act last week. As it stands now, only the courts and police have the power to send minors to child diversion. Green is also recommending that the provision, which allows minors to accept responsibility for a crime through a guilty plea in order to access child diversion, be removed.
A child should not be required, in our opinion, to plead guilty to access child diversion.
We're saying that there needs not be a requirement for the child to plead guilty or accept responsibility. The decision to divert should be based on evidence in the file, circumstances of the offense, characteristics of the offender, and the interests of justice.
Dwayne Green, Assistant DPP.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales.
Seeking to assure the country that there is no need to worry about fuel availability. It follows reports that gas stations across Guyana are being forced to close due to fuel shortages. Reports are that long lines were seen across the stations, with some outlets temporarily shutting down after running out of gasoline and diesel. Brigadier Phillips urged citizens on Tuesday to avoid panic buying or hoarding amidst the disruption. He says sufficient fuel supplies are entering the system and the temporary disruption is being resolved. The government has confirmed that one major oil company faced a setback in the arrival of its shipment. Importers have assured the government that supply levels will stabilize quickly. Several shipments arrived early on Monday, with more set to come throughout the week.
Israel and Lebanon have agreed to launch direct negotiations after concluding what the U.S. State Department called a historic meeting between both sides in Washington. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. said Tuesday's talks showed the three countries are on the same side of the equation. Trump says talks with Iran may resume over the next 2 days after negotiators in Pakistan failed to reach a deal on the weekend. Meanwhile, the U.S. has announced it won't renew its temporary easing of Iran oil sanctions due to expire later this week. It says the decision was taken in order to put maximum pressure on Iran.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour from Promise to Action.
The Prime Minister opens the debate on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, in the House of Representatives today.
We're not restoring a pre-Melissa Jamaica. We are building a post-Melissa Jamaica that the generations before us dreamed of and the generations after us will inherit.
Opposition leader Mark Golding warns that a housing crisis is developing due to the failures of the government's ROOFs program.
The ROOFs program is hopelessly inadequate and is being incompetently administered.
PAC summons former leaders and the current CEO of the University Hospital of the West Indies to appear before the committee.
I'm Mahiri Stewart.
And I'm Shalois Michael.
You can find the news on our website at revonews.ai and on the Revo News app, available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Get ready for something special. St. Andrew Technical High School, STATS, celebrates their 65th anniversary with a fair and open day under the theme Healthy 65th, Reshaping Our Health Together. Join Cliff Views Online on Thursday, April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're coming to you live from the campus with energy. Explore student displays from business, science, agriculture, and technical departments, plus clubs like Key Club and 4-H. Enjoy free services like optical care, cholesterol checks, immunization, HIV testing, and more, with partners like the Minister of Health and Bellevue Hospital. It's all about community and wellness. We'll have exciting interviews with alumni, students, and leaders, plus highlights of 65 years of excellence. You don't want to miss this major milestone. Catch it live on Cliff Views Online, Thursday, April 16 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's Stats' 65th anniversary. Also tune into this broadcast on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by St. Andrew Technical High School.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm with